Chapter 1276. The Miniman GU Immortal pondered for a moment before activating an immortal killer move, shouting, "Expand, expand, expand." Thereupon, his body started to expand. Soon, he was no different from a normal person. Moreover, the wings on his back also retracted. From his appearance, he looked no different from a normal human. At this point, the GU Immortals present finally saw the true appearance of this mysterious rank 8 GU Immortal. He was an old man with an ordinary appearance. He even gave off a somewhat sloppy feeling. The only distinguishing feature was his purple hair. It was messy and fluffy, like a beggar. Plop. Tai Bai Yunsheng's face was covered in tears. He knelt down on both knees. His body was shaking from excitement as he shouted, "Master! Oh! So it is you. I remember that I had once given you a time path true inheritance." The rank 8 GU Immortal smiled, revealing a mouthful of incomplete yellow teeth. "Even though my sect's plan succeeded, there were many accidents. The current situation is like this." To stall for time, Ying Wuxie went forward and transmitted many thoughts to the purple-haired old man. In a moment, the purple-haired old man understood everything. "It is a pity that Providence won by a small margin. But we have not lost all hope yet. Ying Wuxie, you did well. It has been hard on you. And Tai Bai Yunsheng, get up. Now, while I am still conscious, let's join hands with Xue Hu and make these Central Continent GU Immortals stay." The situation was urgent. The purple-haired old man immediately realized that the battle between the rank 8 GU Immortals was the crucial point. He did not hesitate. His body turned into a purple light that shot into the sky. At the next moment, he was in the sky, standing beside old ancestor Xue Hu. "May I know your name?" Old ancestor Xue Hu was not surprised. Lady Wn Shou had already used GU worms to transmit the situation of Shadow Sect's group's appearance to him. With a mysterious helper, old ancestor Xue Hu was excited. "I have many names, but..." The purple-haired old man revealed a deep smile. "Xue Hu, you can call me Zishan Makoto." Immediately, old ancestor Xue Hu and Zishan Makoto worked together to deal with the two Central Continent rank 8s and Edgelink camp. Zishan Makoto's strength was extremely shocking. Although the number of times he attacked was limited, every time he did, it had the effect of adding the finishing touch. Any ordinary rank 8 would be able to turn the situation around for old ancestor Xue Hu. Not to mention the addition of the unfathomable Zishan Makoto. Even though Wei Lingyang and Bai Chen Tian gritted their teeth and fought bitterly, they could not stop the situation from tilting towards northern plains. After a dozen rounds, the two of them were actually forced to retreat to Edgelink camp, unable to resist the combined attacks of old ancestor Xue Hu and Zishan Makoto. The peak leaders raised their arms and cheered upon seeing this. With no Central Continent GU Immortals attacking the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation, the result of this battle was clear. In contrast, Zhao Lianyun and the other 4 GU Immortals who were trapped in snowy mountain blessed land were deathly pale. Such a drastic change in the battle situation caused their hopes of survival to become extremely slim. What should they do? Outside snowy mountain blessed land, an ancient sword dragon was hidden in the clouds. Shadow Sect is actually related to Snowy Mountain. Then why did Qin Bai Sheng and Feng Zhoge fight in Luopo Valley earlier? Why did they not ask Snowy Mountain for help? Maybe this relationship is not as close as I thought. Qi Luck Sensation told Fang Yuan that Ying Wuxie and the rest were inside Snowy Mountain blessed land. They were not far away. Fang Yuan's pursuit was obstructed. He was unwilling to give up. He continued to wander around, looking for new opportunities. At a certain place 1,000 li away, 2 GU Immortals descended from the sky. They were none other than the celestial longevity planes Black Extremity and Flood Extremity. "This is the place," Black Extremity said as he activated his GU worm, causing a huge commotion. The small slope in front of them started to shine with a dazzling light. Flood Extremity realized at once, "So you have already set up a GU formation here. Do I need to control the GU formation now?" Black Extremity shook his head. "Let's enter the formation first." He took a step forward and entered the GU formation. Flood Extremity followed closely behind. Once they entered the GU formation, Flood Extremity's expression changed. He exclaimed, "This GU formation has a grand aura, as expected of someone like Black Extremity who set it up personally. Once it is activated, it will have shocking power. But towards the end, Flood Extremity's tone became hesitant. But what? Black Extremity looked at him with interest. Flood Extremity replied solemnly, but from what I can tell, this formation seems to be incomplete. It seems to be a lake. Before this, there should have been a sea connected to it. Black Extremity heard this and raised his brows, clapping as he praised, as expected of a water-path quasi-great grandmaster, you are already half a step into the realm of comprehending new things by analogy. That's right. This GU formation is only a subformation, there is a main formation that resonates with it. Then where is the main formation? Flood Extremity frowned. Before Black Extremity answered, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration. He realized, I get it. That main formation is Snowy Mountain Blessed Lands Fate-Reversing Sacrificial Refinement Formation. Indeed. Black Extremity laughed loudly. I received orders earlier to approach Lady WN's show as Sun Ming Lu. Eventually, I created the Fate-Reversing Sacrificial Refinement Formation to irrigate Reverse Flow River. Even though old ancestor Schwer, who is the #1 expert in Northern Plains, he does not know formation path, he did not see through my secret method. Right now, as long as I activate this subformation, I can destroy the main formation in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land and bring Reverse Flow River here. Once the GU formation collapses, within the surrounding 10,000 li of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, everyone and everything will be swept away by Reverse Flow River, they will all be brought here. Black Extremity spoke confidently, showing excitement in his eyes. Flood Extremity was shocked, but if we do that, wouldn't we be sending those 4 rank 8 great experts here as well? Black Extremity shook his head. Reverse Flow River is a secluded domain of heaven and earth, it is extraordinary, it has an unimaginable amount of Dao marks. As long as they fall into the river, even rank 8 great experts cannot use any GU worms. In the legends of Renzu did not use any GU worms in Reverse Flow River. Then won't we be able to do anything to them? Flood Extremity was excited. But Black Extremity shook his head. We are outside Reverse Flow River, but any attacks we use on it will be reflected back. The so-called Reverse Flow River has the word reverse in its name, it naturally deserves its name. Flood Extremity was confused. If that is the case, how can we save Ma Hongyun and capture Zhao Lianyun? Ha ha ha. Black Extremity raised his head and laughed. You forgot something. This Reverse Flow River is still affected by my fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation. When the main formation collapses and Reverse Flow River forms, it will flow towards us. By then, the people in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land will be arranged by me, like Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, they will be at the front of Reverse Flow River. Lady WN's show and the rest will be at the back. Central Continent's GU Immortals will be at the back, those rank 8 GU Immortals will be at the back. Amazing. Flood Extremity's eyes shined brightly, he clapped. This way, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun will definitely struggle to escape from Lady WN's show and the rest, they will move forward and widen the distance between them and the GU Immortals behind them. As long as they stay at the front, we will be able to approach them and capture them alive. But Flood Extremity frowned. If Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun cannot hold on, they will end up like Renzu, they will be washed away by Reverse Flow River. If that is the case, they will fall behind the other GU Immortals. Wouldn't that ruin our plan? Black Extremity smiled bitterly. This is indeed the biggest flaw in our plan. But thankfully, Reverse Flow River has nothing to do with cultivation level or stamina. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun have an advantage. But this is still too risky. Flood Extremity was not satisfied with this answer. Black Extremity shrugged. Then what do you want a rank 7 GU Immortal like me to do? This is already the best method. After all, we are not targeting 1 or 2 rank 7 GU Immortals, we are targeting Snowy Mountain Blessed Land and Central Continent's GU Immortal experts. There are rank 8 great experts involved, and from the looks of it, there are 4 of them. Flood Extremity was silent, he nodded helplessly. This was indeed the limit of their abilities. Honestly speaking, it was not easy for Black Extremity to do this. Don't worry. We are just a part of it, don't forget, Lord Southern Desolate has already awakened, he definitely has other plans. We just need to focus on our own matters. Black extremity patted Flood extremity's shoulder, consoling him. Chapter 1277. Bam bam bam. Giant horns silhouette shot around in the sky, creating a storm of attacks. Around old ancestor Shwe Hu, frost energy overflowed, surging blue frost flooded Edge Link Camp layer by layer. The two Central Continent rank 8s in Edge Link Camp gritted their teeth and endured, while the other GU Immortals behind them were busy repairing the immortal GU houses. They were sweating profusely and had panicked expressions. Beside old ancestor Shwe Hu, Zishan Makoto's body was emitting a dazzling purple light, illuminating the whole of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Central Continent's side attacked Snowy Mountain, while Zishan Makoto was in charge of defending this blessed land. This blessed land was the foundation of the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation. As long as they defended it, Central Continent would definitely fail. What do we do now? Bai Chen Tian's face showed some panic. At this rate, not only will we not be able to save Zhao Lianyun and Ma Hongyun, we might even lose this immortal GU house and ourselves. As the leader of this operation, Wei Lingyang's expression was extremely grim. The current situation was extremely disadvantageous to Central Continent's side. It could even be said that there was no hope at all. According to the Central Continent GU Immortals battle plan, they were supposed to split into two groups. One group would restrain Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace, while the other group would save Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun before regrouping with the first group and retreating from Northern Plains. But now, Snowy Mountain Blessed Lands group could barely protect themselves, while the other group was counting on them to save them. This was Northern Plains, not Central Continent. 3 rank 8s, 3 immortal GU houses, and many GU immortals, but they were still alone. Of course, this was also because the Northern Plains GU Immortals came prepared. Central Continent did not know of Giant Sun Immortals' plan back then. Central Continent's heavy attack had a high chance of success according to the sneak attack plan. But as the situation developed, the sneak attack turned into a forceful attack, and with Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's arrangements, Central Continent's GU Immortals fell into such a passive state, they were in grave danger. Wei Lingyang's mind raced rapidly. After a while, he gritted his teeth, as if using all his strength, he ordered, "Retreat. Forget about Zhao Lianyun and Ma Hongyun." With the appearance of Zishan Makoto, this was beyond the capabilities of Wei Lingyang and the rest. If it continued to drag on, Zhongzhou State would suffer a greater loss. Wei Lingyang decided to retreat immediately, returning to Black Heaven and meeting up with the other 2 immortal GU houses before escaping back to Central Continent. If Edge Link Camp wanted to leave, old ancestor Shwe Hu and Zishan Makoto could not stop them even if they worked together. After all, they did not have immortal GU houses, they could not stop Edge Link Camp's rampage. But, just as Edge Link Camp was about to charge out of this GU formation, a change occurred. The entire Snowy Mountain Blessed Land shook violently. The heavens fell and the earth cracked. What happened? The Blessed Land seems to be collapsing. Zhao Lianyun and the others, as well as the other surviving peak leaders, were all extremely shocked. Rumble. Amidst the violent muffled sounds, the snowy peaks began to collapse. What's going on? Old ancestor Shwe Hu also showed shock on his face. The entire formation is collapsing on its own. Zishan Makoto's eyes shined with brilliance as he suddenly changed his words. No. This formation. Before he finished speaking, the GU Immortals present heard the sound of surging water. In the next moment, surging waves seemed to appear out of thin air, sweeping in all directions. It was the secluded domain of heaven and earth, Reverse Flow River. Oh no, wife. Everything happened too quickly. Old ancestor Shwe Hu wanted to rush back to the first snowy peak, but halfway there, he was submerged by Reverse Flow River. In Reverse Flow River, all GU worms could not be activated. Old ancestor Shwe Hu could not help himself, he was immediately swept away by the river. He was the strongest person here, but even so, there was no need to mention the others. Immortal GU House Edge Link Camp directly disintegrated in the river. The Central Continent GU Immortals were swept away like dumplings. Zhao Lianyun and the rest, the other peak lords of Snowy Mountain Blessed Land, Lady Wn Shou, Ying Wuxie, and Ma Hongyun were all swept into Reverse Flow River. Snowy mountain blessed land had completely collapsed, only a trace of its frame was left. The winds of assimilation started to form. It's here. Far away, Black Extremity's forehead was bulging with veins. He was controlling the subformation with all his might. He was the culprit behind Snowy Mountain's sudden change. Meanwhile, on the side, Flood Extremity dutifully protected him. Moreover, at the final moment, Flood Extremity even needed to exert himself, using water path methods to collect reverse flow river. What? Fang Yuan felt his vision brightening as a huge wave drowned him. Once the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement mother formation crumbled, all the people and objects within 10,000 li of Snowy Mountain blessed land would be engulfed by reverse flow river. Fang Yuan was within this range, he would not be spared. In the surging river, Fang Yuan's head popped out. This is reverse flow river. He was knowledgeable. After the shock, he immediately recognized the origin of this river. Snowy Mountain blessed land has reverse flow river. No wonder my ancient sword serpent transformation was mysteriously dispelled. This was natural. Inside reverse flow river, GU worms could not be used. Fang Yuan's ancient sword dragon transformation was an immortal killer move. It needed immortal GU and mortal GU to activate. Thus, once Fang Yuan was swept in, all GU worms stopped being used. He returned to his original appearance. Thankfully, I am good at swimming. Fang Yuan moved his limbs as he swam with ease. In front of him, on the vast river, there were many living beings swimming. There were large numbers of wild beasts, trees, flowers, and even rocks. Reverse flow river's currents were turbulent. There were rocks and trees in the water. They were rampaging and causing chaos in the river. Fang Yuan's heart sank. In this situation, he could not use GU worms. His battle strength fell to rock bottom. He could only rely on his body's defensive strength. Right at this time, Fang Yuan heard a strange sound. He quickly turned around and saw that under the rapid currents, a huge metal tree, the trunk of which was as large as an elephant, was sweeping towards him. Danger! Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk. He wanted to dodge. But in the turbulent reverse flow river, he could not control himself. His speed fell by many times. The metal tree slammed into his waist. Fang Yuan was knocked deep into the river. Next, he frantically swung his limbs, his head emerging from the river. Huff huff huff. He breathed heavily, breathing in fresh air. He quickly inspected his body, checking his injuries. He was taken aback by the inspection. Because he had no injuries. There were only some bruises on his waist. But soon, the bruises on his body also disappeared. Fang Yuan's eyes brightened. He suddenly realized, right. My body is not ordinary. It is the sovereign immortal body. In reverse flow river, Fang Yuan could not use any GU worms. He could only rely on his body. But Chapter 1278. After the Battle of Yi Tian Mountain ended, Fang Yuan had tested this body's foundation on the road. He ran on foot. He was agile and fast like a galloping horse. With a light jump, he could reach 10 feet. After jumping from 580 feet and landing on his head, he would feel a numbness in his scalp and a slight dizziness. After 2 to 3 breaths of time, these symptoms would disappear. And he had great strength. He had great endurance. Even after running for 15 minutes, he did not feel any fatigue. His 5 senses were also very strong. His dynamic vision was simply too amazing. His vision was very wide. Within 10,000 steps, he could see everything clearly. After the strenuous exercise, his heartbeat quickly calmed down. Every beat of his heart was heavy and powerful. His thinking speed was far beyond mortals. Even under the light of wisdom, he could hold on for a long time. Even GU immortals could not reach this level with just their physical bodies alone. Not just a metal tree, even if a metal mountain crashed into him, Fang Yuan would still be alive and kicking. This was the quality of the sovereign immortal body. It had nothing to do with GU worms, it had to do with the Tao marks on his body. In this reverse flow river, I cannot use GU worms. Others cannot either, but my sovereign immortal body is strong enough. The Tao marks on my body are also extraordinary. The more Fang Yuan thought about it, the more excited he became. Ying Wu Xie. He swung his limbs and swam forward like a swordfish. The entire reverse flow river was extremely turbulent, but overall, it was being guided by the subformation, flowing in the direction of black extremity and flood extremity. Raw. A multicolored tiger was crawling on a piece of driftwood with its front limbs. Fang Yuan swam towards the tiger. The tiger was unmoved. But Fang Yuan breathed roughly. He lay on the driftwood and rested for a while. This piece of driftwood could not bear the weight of a man and a tiger. It started to sink. The tiger was anxious. It opened its mouth and wanted to bite Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan snorted coldly. He stretched out his arms, pressing on the tiger's head with one hand while clenching his fist with the other. He punched the tiger to death. Thankfully, there are no desolate beasts here. There are only ordinary wild beasts. Even the supreme immortal physique was not enough against wild beasts. The snowy mountain-blessed land naturally did not lack desolate beasts. But in order to refine fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU and activate the formation to defend against enemies, snowy mountain-blessed land had already modified it. GU immortals who had desolate beasts kept them in their immortal apertures, otherwise, wouldn't it be stupid to let enemies kill them for no reason? Fang Yuan swam in the reverse flow river, trying to find Ying Wuxie. The great snow mountain-blessed land collapsed, and the reverse flow river surged out. Therefore, Fang Yuan did not know that Zishan Makoto had awakened. In his heart, his imaginary enemy was still old ancestor Xue Hu. Based on his initial estimation, he felt that Ying Wuxie had some connection with the Great Snow Mountain, but it was not a close one. If not, why didn't old ancestor Xue Hu help him in the Battle of Yitian Mountain? There was nothing wrong with Fang Yuan's analysis and reasoning. However, he lacked information path methods and had too little information. In this situation, even if I encounter old ancestor Xue Hu, I can protect myself. Because I cannot use GU worms in reverse flow river, it is a special environment. Since Ying Wuxie is related to old ancestor Xue Hu, if I miss this chance, they will grow stronger under old ancestor Xue Hu's protection. If I miss this chance, I will never be able to kill Ying Wuxie's group again. With such a thought, Fang Yuan rested for a while before setting off again. Next, he saw Bai Chen Tian. A Central Continent rank 8 GU immortal. Fang Yuan was shocked. What happened? A rank 8 GU immortal, not old ancestor Xue Hu, but a Central Continent GU immortal? Bai Chen Tian was in a sorry state. He was lying on the shell of a giant tortoise. He was covered in injuries. These injuries were not from the collision in reverse flow river, they were from the battle earlier. He was a rank 8 GU immortal, his Dao marks conflicted. Once he got injured, it was hard to heal. But in the battle, he was at a disadvantage. How could he have time to heal himself? Thus, after the main formation broke, he was swept away by reverse flow river. He could not use GU worms, his injuries were delayed. But thankfully, he met a floating tortoise in the river. Using this tortoise, Bai Chen Tian finally had a chance to recover. Fang Yuan found Bai Chen Tian. Bai Chen Tian also found Fang Yuan. But Bai Chen Tian did not know Fang Yuan. Because Fang Yuan's current appearance was the sovereign immortal body. As for his original appearance, the celestial court exposed it. It was widely spread in the 5 regions. Even though Bai Chen Tian did not know Fang Yuan, he frowned. He was very wary. Because Fang Yuan's aura showed that he was a Northern Plains GU immortal. This was because of the sovereign immortal body. After passing through the regional walls, Fang Yuan's aura could change freely in the 5 regions. Wherever he went, he would be the GU immortal of that region. He could blend in perfectly. Who is this person? Snowy mountain blessed lands peak lords do not have someone like him. But, he might have been recruited by old ancestor Xue Hu. Bai Chen Tian stood up from the tortoise's back. He looked at Fang Yuan, observing his every move. In reverse flow river, even though Bai Chen Tian had rank 8 cultivation level, he could not use his GU worms. His battle strength was limited. Fang Yuan looked at him warily. He did not get too close. Even though Fang Yuan had the sovereign immortal body, if he thought that he was an expert in reverse flow river because of this, he would be a fool. Reverse flow river could not use GU worms, but his body was unaffected. His Dao marks could be used. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body was very strong because of the Dao marks on it. Similarly, If a GU master used Black Boar GU and gained the strength of a boar, the corresponding strength path Dao marks would be engraved on this GU master's body. If this GU master fell into reverse flow river, he could not use GU worms, but he could still use his body to unleash the strength of a boar. If it were other GU immortals, how could they not use GU worms like the Black Boar GU to carve Dao marks on their bodies during their long cultivation journey? Of course, that was for sure. No one was a fool. The advantage of these Dao marks was obvious. Fang Yuan had the advantage of his body, other GU immortals had it too, just to varying degrees. For rank 8 GU immortals, they had deep foundations. Fang Yuan did not want to fight Bai Chen Tian now. You are a Central Continent GU immortal? Even though I am a Northern Plains GU immortal, I have enmity with old ancestor Xue Hu. I saw him refining a rank 8 immortal GU, I did not want him to succeed, so I hid outside the blessed land to see if there was a chance to destroy it. Are you his GU refinement assistant? Fang Yuan probed with each sentence. Bai Chen Tian's frown eased a little, he replied, old ancestor Xue Hu is also my enemy. Not long ago, I fought with him in snowy mountain blessed land, to think that something unexpected happened. My injuries were caused by old ancestor Xue Hu. Both sides conversed and exchanged some information. Fang Yuan realized now that so many things had happened in snowy mountain blessed land, but Bai Chen Tian's words were ambiguous. Fang Yuan did not get much information. They did not trust each other yet. Of course. It was just a simple conversation, it was hard to tell what was in a person's heart. Especially in this environment where GU worms could not be used, both sides were on high alert. Fang Yuan knew that he could not get more information from Bai Chen Tian, he chose to leave. He moved away from that wild tortoise. Even when they were conversing, he did not get close, while Bai Chen Tian did not invite Fang Yuan to rest on the tortoise's back. Bai Chen Tian saw that Fang Yuan was leaving, his expression eased up. But right at this time, a small accident happened. Crack. A soft sound. A fist-sized object was pushed by the river, hitting Fang Yuan's face. This small object was soft like a jellyfish, it stuck to Fang Yuan's forehead. What the hell is this? Fang Yuan was stunned, he wanted to pull it away. But at this time, he heard Bai Chen Tian's voice, be gentle, don't break it. Chapter 1279. Fang Yuan held this jellyfish-like immortal GU in his hands, inspecting it carefully. At the next moment, his eyes shined. This was an immortal GU. But Fang Yuan did not know what rank it was. Because in this reverse flow river, no GU worms could be used. These GU worms that fell into reverse flow river were like fossils, sealing themselves, not letting a trace of their aura leak out. This caused Fang Yuan to not care about this jellyfish-like immortal GU earlier. Only when Bai Chen Tian reminded him did Fang Yuan realize. If it were outside, without this reverse flow river, Fang Yuan would be able to tell from far away that this immortal GU was an immortal GU, and what rank it was. As for what the immortal GU was, that would depend on the GU immortal's knowledge. This immortal GU seems to be affection GU. Fang Yuan's knowledge was broadened. After observing for a while, he guessed this GU's origin. Wisdom path had 3 elements: thought, will, and emotion. Since there was love immortal GU, there was affection immortal GU too. Fang Yuan's guess was right. Bai Chen Tian was anxious. Affection GU was very important to Central Continent GU immortals. Why? Because this immortal GU was temporarily added to the immortal GU House Edge Link Camp. Along with it, many other mortal GU were added. This affection immortal GU, along with many mortal GU, gave Edge Link Camp a new ability: it could track the location of love immortal GU. Even if love immortal GU was in an immortal aperture, there was no problem. Precisely so, Edge Link Camp could track it to snowy mountain blessed land. Otherwise, back in the spaceless tunnel, when love immortal GU used its power and transported Zhao Lianyun, Yu Yi Zi, Shi Zhengyi, Biyu Zhenzi, and Mu Linglan, who knew where they went? After adding affection immortal GU and other GU worms, Edge Link Camp could sense love immortal GU's location and track it to snowy mountain blessed land. But afterwards, because of fighting against the two rank 8 great experts, Old Ancestor Xue Hu and Zishan Makoto, Edge Link Camp was under immense pressure and was heavily damaged. And before this, after a long and arduous journey and the collapse of the seamless tunnel, Edge Link Camp itself wasn't complete. Thus, when Flood Extremity and Black Extremity activated the GU formation and detonated the main formation, causing Reverse Flow River to flow away, Edge Link Camp was already in a terrible state. This way, the entire Immortal GU house collapsed. The GU worms that formed the Immortal GU house, be they mortal or immortal, were swept away by the river water. If they were in the outside world, these Immortal GU and Mortal GU could follow the GU Immortal's will and fly into the GU Immortal's embrace. But in Reverse Flow River, these GU worms were restricted by this special environment. They were forced to seal themselves and hibernate. No matter how he called them, they were like dead creatures. Affection GU was one of the countless GU worms left behind after the Immortal GU house disintegrated. To be precise, he was a very lucky one. Because most of the GU worms would be smashed by the waves in the process of drifting with the current, or crushed by the rocks or giant trees that were constantly crashing into the river. GU worms were very fragile. Reverse Flow River became a graveyard for GU worms. Of course, there were differences in the hardness of GU worms. Most GU worms could be crushed with a pinch. But there were also jade-like, rock-like GU worms that were as hard as jade. And this Affection GU was special. Its body was very soft. Even if it was hit, it could survive. Evidently, this was the reason why it was able to survive in Reverse Flow River. But in Fang Yuan's hands, it was not in a good state. Its jellyfish-like body was damaged. There was a huge wound that took up a quarter of Affection GU's body. It was quite terrifying. Bai Chen Tian's eyes were sharp. Seeing that Fang Yuan wanted to remove this jellyfish-like Affection GU, he quickly reminded him. After reminding him, he felt some regret. If he did not remind him, Fang Yuan might just abandon it. But now, Fang Yuan's eyes were shining brightly. It was obvious he had discovered the truth. Bai Chen Tian suppressed the uneasiness in his heart as he cupped his fists at Fang Yuan. Friend, this GU belongs to Central Continent. Why don't we form a good relationship and give this Immortal GU to me? Is that possible? Fang Yuan squinted. I can consider your suggestion. But what GU is this? I need to know. Bai Chen Tian answered. This is Affection GU, a Wisdom Path GU worm. Wisdom Path GU immortals were few in number. Bai Chen Tian emphasized Affection GU because he felt that Fang Yuan was not a Wisdom Path GU immortal. Affection GU itself was of little value to most GU immortals. It was tasteless, but a waste to abandon. Why? GU immortals needed wills as helpers. Be it sect gatherings or jewel yellow skies, all will GU were widely used. But for this, he only needed some mortal level will GU. There was no need to pay a huge price to raise Affection Immortal GU. After all, they were not Wisdom Path GU immortals, their Dao marks conflicted. When they used Immortal GU of other paths, the effect would be lower. At the same time, just raising Affection Immortal GU could not create any immortal killer moves. Unless they needed Affection Immortal GU to create immortal killer moves of other paths, or if it had a special effect, GU immortals would not want this Immortal GU. Not all Immortal GU were popular. GU immortals had their own paths. Immortal GU also had their own paths. GU immortals had rank 6, 7, and 8. Immortal GU were the same. For GU immortals, only suitable Immortal GU had value to them. In the 500 years of Fang Yuan's previous life, during the 5 regions chaotic war, GU immortals often held trading fairs to exchange Immortal GU. But Bai Chen Tian could not imagine that Fang Yuan was the most special one among all the GU immortals in the world. Firstly, his Wisdom Path attainment level was Grandmaster. If he was not a Wisdom Path GU immortal, what else could he be? Secondly, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body's Dao marks did not conflict. He could cultivate any path. Finally, Fang Yuan had been worried about this earlier. He felt that even though he had Wisdom Path attainment and methods, he lacked Wisdom Path Immortal GU. Thus, to Fang Yuan, this Affection Immortal GU was very important. Thus, He kept affection immortal GU in his pocket. In this reverse flow river, he could not open his immortal aperture's entrance, he could only carry it with him. Bai Chen Tian saw this and his expression sank, his tone became even more anxious. Friend, put down that immortal GU, we are not enemies, we can make a deal and take what we need. Chapter 1280. If possible, Fang Yuan wanted to use affection immortal GU to exchange for other immortal GU that were more suitable for him. But in reverse flow river, transactions could not be carried out. Because GU worms could not be used, information path methods could not be used to restrict them from transacting peacefully. Fang Yuan wanted to exchange for other immortal GU, but Bai Chen Tian had no immortal GU. Because GU worms were hibernating in reverse flow river, other than the ones in the immortal aperture, even the immortal GU inside the GU immortal's body would not respond to any calls. Thus, Bai Chen Tian did not have any bargaining chips. Bai Chen Tian knew of Fang Yuan's concerns, but was he going to give up on this chance and wait for the future? Who knew what would happen in the future? After Black Extremity's interference, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was gone, Central Continent's Edge Link Camp was gone too. If Central Continent fought again, they would be at an even greater disadvantage. Central Continent's GU immortals could not even protect themselves. After leaving reverse flow river, would they not escape? Thus, they had no chance to transact with Fang Yuan. If they could not transact now, what about in the future? Fang Yuan was a Northern Plains GU immortal, while Bai Chen Tian was a Central Continent GU immortal. They were not from the same place. Even with dual yellow skies, Central Continent could not control Fang Yuan's situation. What if he transacted with someone else in advance? What if he raised the price and demanded an exorbitant price? There were worse situations. Bai Chen Tian was a person who had to think about losing before winning, seeing that he could not get the immortal GU from Fang Yuan, his killing intent surged. I am a rank 8 GU immortal, even if I cannot use my Dao marks here. With just my Dao Mark foundation, how can I lose to a Northern Plains rank 7? With such a thought, Bai Chen Tian jumped into the river and swam towards Fang Yuan. At this moment, his ill intent was clear. Fang Yuan snickered internally, he attacked Bai Chen Tian instead of retreating. Bai Chen Tian saw this and was overjoyed, he thought. These Northern Plains GU immortals sound good, they are battle-hungry by nature. To put it bluntly, they are brainless. The river flowed rapidly, but both sides had extraordinary bodies, they soon encountered each other in the middle. Bang, bang, bang. Fang Yuan raised his fist and punched Bai Chen Tian thrice. Bai Chen Tian was a wood path GU immortal, he had deep breathing and precise vision, he blocked the 3 punches. He was shocked. This person looks so young, but how can he be so strong? Does he specialize in strength path? He felt the arm that he used to block the attack go numb. But while he was shocked, Bai Chen Tian did not forget to counterattack with his other hand. Both sides exchanged blows, fists and palms collided, and soon it developed into a close combat. Fang Yuan's entire body was a weapon. Head strikes, knee strikes, elbow strikes, all sorts of attacks were displayed one by one. At first, Bai Chen Tian was at a disadvantage, but very quickly, he was not any weaker than Fang Yuan. This was because he had a strong foundation and excellent fighting ability. His basic skills were very solid. It was just that after becoming a GU immortal, he rarely had the chance to use them. Now that he was in battle, these close combat abilities were coming back to life. As for Fang Yuan, because he became a GU immortal much earlier than Bai Chen Tian, many years ago, he was a mortal GU master roaming southern border and northern plains. He was very familiar with close combat. The two fought in the river at times, they popped their heads out and breathed in the air, they stopped fighting for now. The current of the reverse flow river was very rapid. In fact, most of their stamina was spent on swimming. They didn't use much of it to fight. And when they fought, the environment was very complex. Because from time to time, some huge trees or wild beasts would float by, forcing them to retreat. After dozens of rounds, they were breathing heavily, they knew they could not do anything to the other. This rank 8 GU immortal has a strong foundation indeed. I was wondering if I could kill a rank 8 in reverse flow river, but it seems that I was thinking too much. Fang Yuan sighed internally. Bai Chen Tian was filled with shock. How can this be? How could this man be on par with me? I had once used grass immortal GU to increase my strength. I also used the immortal killer move wood armor to carve Dao marks on my body, allowing me to have a strong defense. I even turned my heart into a wood heart. My blood has turned green, giving me a strong recovery ability. Ignoring these immortal killer moves and immortal GU, I am a rank 8 GU immortal. I have passed countless calamities and tribulations. I definitely have more Dao marks than a rank 7. But why is it that I can only fight to a draw with this person? Bai Chen Tian stared at Fang Yuan. He looked at him like he was looking at a monster. Speaking of which, Fang Yuan did not have as many Dao marks as rank 8 Bai Chen Tian, but the truth was, his Dao mark accumulation surpassed many rank 7 GU immortals. Even though he had just become a rank 7 GU immortal not long ago. The only thing that could match Bai Chen Tian was the sovereign immortal body. The sovereign immortal body was not an ordinary human body, it was created from GU worms. Be it Bai Chen Tian or Wei Ling Yang, they were created from humans. But Fang Yuan's body was created from GU worms. Thus, why was Fang Yuan a complete otherworldly demon? This was one of the reasons. The sovereign immortal body allowed Fang Yuan to make up for the difference in Dao marks between him and Bai Chen Tian. He fought to a draw with Bai Chen Tian. Fang Yuan decided to retreat. Even though he did not lose out, his original intention was to get rid of the huge threat that was Ying Wuxie. Earlier, when he fought with Bai Chen Tian, he wanted to test his strength, to see if he could kill this rank 8 GU immortal. But reality told Fang Yuan that he was thinking too much. Since he could not deal with Bai Chen Tian, Fang Yuan had to stop. He did not want to waste time with Bai Chen Tian, he had not achieved his goal yet. Fang Yuan wanted to leave, but Bai Chen Tian did not allow it. Even though Bai Chen Tian could not deal with Fang Yuan, Affection Immortal GU was still with Fang Yuan. Even if I cannot win, I need to stall him. If I meet my companions later, we can attack him together. All in all, I cannot let him escape. Damn him. Fang Yuan soon frowned. He wanted to retreat, but Bai Chen Tian's stamina and speed did not lose to him. Fang Yuan wanted to leave, but Bai Chen Tian kept blocking him or harassing him. This affected Fang Yuan's plan greatly. In that case, don't blame me for being ruthless. A cold light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. Obstructed by the wild beast corpses, Fang Yuan's speed fell slightly. Bai Chen Tian used this chance to attack again. Fang Yuan turned around to fight him. Both sides fought in reverse flow river. Seeing that it was a draw again, at the crucial moment, Fang Yuan reached into his pocket and took out Affection Immortal GU, raising it in front of him. Bai Chen Tian was about to punch Fang Yuan's abdomen. If this hit, Fang Yuan's aura would be in chaos. He would have to swim to the surface and breathe in fresh air. This was one of the key points in water battles. But Fang Yuan took out Affection Immortal GU, blocking Bai Chen Tian's fist. Bai Chen Tian was shocked. He quickly retracted his fist, exposing a flaw. Fang Yuan snickered internally. Using this flaw, he attacked fiercely. Bai Chen Tian lost the initiative. He could only defend and counterattack. But Fang Yuan suddenly raised Affection Immortal GU in front of him. Bai Chen Tian was wary. He exposed a huge flaw again. With these two flaws, Fang Yuan established his advantage. He kicked Bai Chen Tian's abdomen. Bai Chen Tian was kicked. He opened his mouth and breathed out a string of bubbles. His aura was not as long as Fang Yuan's. He changed his strategy. He wanted to escape to the surface of the river. But Fang Yuan would not let him do that. He stretched out his hands like pincers, attacking from both sides, trying to trap Bai Chen Tian in the river. Bai Chen Tian suddenly twisted his waist, doing an extremely difficult escape maneuver. His whole body was like a swimming fish, bursting out with strength, causing Fang Yuan's left and right hands to miss. This response, even Fang Yuan could not help but praise it in his heart. Even though Bai Chen Tian was a Central Continent GU immortal, his rank 8 foundation had no weaknesses. In terms of water battles, he was slightly superior to Fang Yuan. After all, Fang Yuan had lived in Eastern Sea for 500 years in his previous life. Chapter 1281. Fang Yuan's hands missed. He quickly raised his arms and grabbed with both his hands. His left hand missed, but his right hand grabbed onto Bai Chen Tian's leg. Bai Chen Tian's retreat was obstructed, his other leg shot out like a dragon, attacking Fang Yuan's temple quickly and fiercely. This attack was powerful. If it hit, Fang Yuan would feel dizzy, Bai Chen Tian would not be able to escape. But at this moment, Fang Yuan took out Affection Immortal GU and raised it in front of him. Bai Chen Tian was so depressed he wanted to curse, and his legs stopped. Fang Yuan managed to gain some time to react. He suddenly moved his head backwards, his body flipped in the water. Originally, he was like Bai Chen Tian, his head was above his feet. But now, he grabbed Bai Chen Tian's leg, his head was above his feet. Bai Chen Tian saw this and his heart sank. He knew that the situation was bad. This was because Fang Yuan had one hand on his leg, while the other was holding Affection Immortal GU, he could not attack. But at this moment, in this situation, Fang Yuan had two legs that he could use. In contrast, Bai Chen Tian's leg was grabbed by Fang Yuan, he could only use his other leg to attack. Bai Chen Tian was shocked, his empty leg moved in a different direction, like a butterfly, it was extremely agile as it kicked continuously. In Fang Yuan's eyes, a series of leg shadows were formed. But Fang Yuan was not afraid, he waved his legs and created leg shadows as well. The two fought in the river, their strength collided, creating whirlpools in the water. Every time their legs clashed, there would be muffled bangs in the river. Bai Chen Tian only had one leg, how could he match Fang Yuan's two legs? During the fight, he was kicked by Fang Yuan frequently. Bai Chen Tian focused on defense, he felt very annoyed. I am a great rank 8 GU immortal, to think that I ended up like this. Rascal. As long as I get out of the river and recover, I will teach you a lesson. He waved his arms rapidly, dragging Fang Yuan's body along as he swam towards the surface of the river. However, in the next moment, Fang Yuan's eyes flashed. He blocked Bai Chen Tian's kick with one leg, while his other leg aimed at a certain vital spot and kicked. Oh! Bai Chen Tian was kicked in the crotch by Fang Yuan. In an instant, his entire face stiffened, his eyes widened, and he almost spat out the last bit of air he had left in his mouth. Bai Chen Tian was indeed a rank 8 great expert, his endurance was far beyond ordinary people, he forcefully acknowledged him as his master, at the same time, he waved his arms, wanting to swim up and get his head out of the river. Bang! Fang Yuan's kick landed again. Bai Chen Tian's body trembled. This time, he could not hold it in anymore and spat out a string of bubbles. Bang, bang, bang. Fang Yuan took advantage of the moment when his opponent revealed a huge opening. Bai Chen Tian's face was red, his eyes were bloodshot, he did not want to swim up anymore, he turned around and wanted to fight Fang Yuan to the death. Who wants to fight you to the death? Fang Yuan let go and kicked Bai Chen Tian away. At the same time, he felt the opposite force and pulled away from Bai Chen Tian. Bai Chen Tian broke free, he was stunned for a moment before he gave up on Fang Yuan and struggled towards the surface of the river. Fang Yuan turned around and took the chance to leave Bai Chen Tian, successfully escaping. Bai Chen Tian's head came out of the water, he opened his mouth and breathed heavily. The pain in his crotch continued to come. The intense pain continued to attack his nerves, making his head feel a little dizzy. This damned guy. If I get a chance, I will skin you alive and grind your bones to dust. Bai Chen Tian looked at the river from afar as Fang Yuan swam quickly, the distance between them was increasing, but he could not reach him. After Fang Yuan successfully got away from Bai Chen Tian, he slowed down and started to recover his stamina. He felt numbness in his feet. Bai Chen Tian's crotch was not easy to kick. With Fang Yuan's immortal body strength, even though he was the one kicking others, his feet felt numb. Evidently, Bai Chen Tian had taken care of his crotch defense, he had many wood path Dao marks. At the crucial moment, Fang Yuan did not fight Bai Chen Tian. He knew that with Bai Chen Tian's methods, even if he killed him, he would be heavily injured by Bai Chen Tian's retaliation, he might even die together with him. Fang Yuan was not willing to do that. He did not need to fight a rank 8 GU immortal to the death. After all, he had the sovereign immortal body, he had a bright future. Moreover, his target this time was Ying Wuxie. If he died together with Bai Chen Tian, Wouldn't Ying Wuxie laugh his head off? Even if Bai Chen Tian died and Fang Yuan lived, Fang Yuan would be heavily injured, he would lose the ability to kill Ying Wuxie. Of course, there was another important point. That was, even if he killed Bai Chen Tian, Fang Yuan would not gain anything. He could not open his immortal aperture here. Bai Chen Tian's corpse was a burden. Fang Yuan could not bring the corpse around. Even if he did, what would he do if he met Ying Wuxie? Even if he did not meet Ying Wuxie, what would he do if he met those Central Continent GU immortals? A rank 7 GU immortal killing a rank 8 was indeed an incredible feat and supreme glory. But this glory, in Fang Yuan's eyes, was less than a fart. He continued to swim forward, searching for Ying Wuxie. Ying Wuxie, is that you? Ying Wuxie heard this voice and turned around, showing joy on his face. Come closer, I will pull you up. He quickly replied. A moment later, Tai Bai Yunsheng was pulled onto a huge lotus leaf by Ying Wuxie. This is the leaf of the monarch lotus, it can float on the water. To think that your luck is so good. Tai Bai Yunsheng sighed. Ying Wuxie smiled, thinking, I have connect luck with that Fang Yuan, how can my luck be bad? But very quickly, the smile on his face vanished and was replaced by a worried expression. He looked at the river ahead. Reverse Flow River is in a strange situation now, we cannot leave. The urgent matter now is to meet up with Lord Zishan Makoto, we might even be able to get Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, as well as kill that ancient sword dragon that is chasing us. Mentioning Zishan Makoto, Tai Bai Yunsheng had a look of reverence on his face. He nodded. Right, let's meet up with Master first. Achoo. Zishan Makoto sneezed loudly. He had a bitter expression as he sighed. Sigh. To think that I would be in such dire straits when I just woke up. Sigh, I am old, my body cannot take it anymore, just a little bit of cold wind and water will cause me to catch a cold. And under his butt was old ancestor Shui Hu's shoulder. Old ancestor Shui Hu was moving his limbs, looking around, trying to find something in Reverse Flow River. Hearing Zishan Makoto's words, he snorted coldly. You are clearly enjoying the fruits of others' labor, why are you complaining? Don't you have a pair of wings? Why don't you fly out of Reverse Flow River? Zishan Makoto had already returned to his original form. Like Fang Yuan, who had turned back into a human from an ancient sword dragon, Zishan Makoto was a Miniman rank 8 GU immortal. His transformation was only an immortal method. Now that he was in Reverse Flow River, he had to turn back into a Miniman. Precisely so, he could sit on old ancestor Shui Hu's shoulder. You think I don't want to fly away? But this Reverse Flow River is being pulled by a huge force, it is very chaotic, I cannot leave the river. Hehe, who set up the GU formation for you? Zishan Makoto asked. Old ancestor Shui whose expression was grim, Sun Ming Lu. Zishan Makoto nodded. It should be him. This is out of my expectations. Old ancestor Shui who said, he is actually a member of Longevity Heaven. Old ancestor Shui who was astute and decisive, at this moment, it was not hard to guess Sun Ming Lu's faction. Because Central Continent's GU immortals were all framed, in the whole of Northern Plains, who had the ability to do such a thing, who had the guts to deal with old ancestor Shui Hu? Other than Longevity Heaven, there was no one else. Zishan Makoto nodded. Longevity Heaven made a move, they are definitely after Ma Hongyun, Zhao Lianyun is definitely not far behind. They are definitely ahead. I need to find my wife first. Old ancestor Shui Hu said. Zishan Makoto patted his shoulder. Then we should swim ahead. Lady WN Shou was beside Ma Hongyun at that time. After being swept away by Reverse Flow River, she is likely to be near Ma Hongyun. The fate-reversing sacrificial refinement subformation was shining with a dazzling platinum light. The light shot into the sky. It was like a huge pillar that could not be concealed. At this moment, Black Extremity was at the center of the GU formation, controlling the GU formation to guide Reverse Flow River. Meanwhile, Flood Extremity was outside the GU formation, guarding against any uninvited guests that were attracted by the light pillar. Chapter 1282. Amazing, this GU formation can actually control Reverse Flow River. Flood Extremity looked at the pillar of light, praising sincerely. But Black Extremity shook his head, this is not control. I only set up the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation. It is like digging a river and letting reverse flow river flow in it. But we dug the river, we can influence the direction of reverse flow river's flow. After we take in this reverse flow river, longevity heaven will have another secluded domain of heaven and earth. Flood extremity looked towards the future. Black extremity instructed again, when we take in reverse flow river, the subformation will definitely be broken. You need to pay attention to the timing and direction, open your immortal aperture's entrance and let reverse flow river flow in. You are a water path GU immortal, you have an advantage in this mission. Flood extremity felt troubled. What if reverse flow river changes course? Is there really no GU worm in this world that can control reverse flow river? Black extremity frowned slightly. There is indeed none. But that is not entirely true, or rather, there is another possibility. What do you mean? You should know about the legends of Renzu. It states, Renzu sighed, as long as he had that immortal GU, he could conquer reverse flow river. You are talking about immortal GU perseverance. Impossible, perseverance immortal GU has never appeared before. In my opinion, that story is only telling us to persevere in our cultivation, we cannot give up easily. The Legends of Renzu, Chapter 4, Section 26, recorded Renzu's woman, boundless forest samsara, was trapped in ordinary abyss. She became friends with a Miniman, who brought boundless forest samsara to look at his home, City Well. After looking at City Well, boundless forest samsara looked at the sky. I understand. Boundless forest samsara looked above her head. She was trapped in ordinary abyss, she was like the Miniman living at the bottom of the well. The Miniman looked at the sky depicted by the well, it was like boundless forest samsara looking at the sky depicted by ordinary abyss. I have decided, I will work hard to leave this abyss and reunite with my father. Boundless forest samsara clenched her fists, making up her mind. The Miniman was very happy. Good. I also wanted to leave the ordinary abyss and see a bigger and vaster world. I saw a lot of trees in the abyss. We can cut them down and make ladders. Then, we can climb out step by step. Boundless forest samsara was surprised, she looked at the Miniman strangely. Miniman, don't you have a pair of wings? Why can't we just fly away? The little man smiled bitterly and said, Human, don't be fooled by my pair of wings. They are weak and powerless, and can only carry my body slowly for a short distance. When I first left the city, I had to climb a ladder to get out. So that's the case. Boundless forest samsara realized. In the following days, she and the little man chopped down trees and built ladders. Trees fell one by one, Wisdom GU flew out. Boundless forest samsara was shocked. Wisdom GU, why are you here? Wisdom is hidden in the ordinary, of course I can be here. Wisdom GU replied. Next, Wisdom GU said, you are very smart, you know how to use the achievements of your predecessors to help you break away from mediocrity. But if you want to get out of ordinary abyss, each of you will need to build your own ladder and complete the entire process alone. Otherwise, you will not be able to leave. Boundless forest samsara quickly nodded, Oh Wisdom GU, thank you for your reminder, we will take note. She and the Miniman built their own ladders. The ladders got taller and taller. Soon, Boundless forest samsara's ladder surpassed the Miniman's. The Miniman's ladder was short and small, the distance between each bar was also short. In comparison, Boundless forest samsara's ladder was long and tall. Boundless forest samsara teased the Miniman, Oh Miniman, the ladder that I spent half a day to build is equivalent to half a month of your effort. If you do this, when will you be able to build a tall ladder that you can use to walk out of ordinary abyss? The Miniman said helplessly, I have no choice. I have already used all my strength, but I spent half a day to carry the wooden strips. You can carry a bundle of them with just one hand. I spent so much effort to cut down a small tree, but you can cut it down in 2 or 3 moves. I have already used all my strength, this is the best I can do. Boundless forest samsara nodded, it is a pity that we can only build our own ladders. The Miniman said, that's right, we can leave ordinary abyss and rely on the achievements of our predecessors, but we can only rely on ourselves. Let's continue to work hard. Boundless forest samsara and the Miniman continued to cut down trees to make ladders. The trees fell one by one, strength Gu flew out from them. Boundless forest samsara was shocked. "Oh strength Gu, why are you here?" "Strength is hidden in the ordinary, of course I am here." Strength Gu replied. Boundless forest samsara thought about it and asked, "Oh strength Gu, what can you give me?" "Like wisdom Gu." Strength Gu said, "I have nothing to give you. But I can give you even greater strength, as long as you give me your youth." Boundless forest samsara fell into hesitation. Strength Gu said, "With your current strength, when can you build a ladder that is tall enough to walk out of ordinary abyss?" Boundless forest samsara thought about it. "It will take a long time, 20 to 30 years. Strength Gu said, "That's right, by then, you will no longer be young, you will be middle-aged. Rather than that, why don't you give me your youth? Even though you will be middle-aged, you will only need a few years to build your ladder." Boundless forest samsara thought about it and nodded. "You are right, strength Gu, I will listen to you." Thus, boundless forest samsara obtained strength Gu, her speed of building ladders became faster, she could cut down more trees at once. A year later, she built the ladder to a very, very high place. She walked at the top of the ladder and looked down. She saw that the trees were very small, the grass was green, she was very happy. "So when I stand at a high place, the things that were huge usually become very small. It is like when I looked at City Well." She looked at the Miniman's ladder, it was very short, it was not even 1/100th of her ladder, she pouted. Boundless forest samsara walked down the ladder and said to the Miniman, "Why is your ladder so small? Look at how tall it is." The Miniman looked at her ladder with admiration but also helplessness. "I am so envious of you, your own strength surpasses mine, now you have strength Gu to help you. It is a pity that I do not have any helpers, I can only rely on myself. I have already tried my best, other than resting and eating, I spend all my time building my ladder, but I cannot compare to you." Boundless forest samsara nodded. "Of course." Another year passed. Boundless forest samsara built her ladder even higher. She stood at the top and looked down. The trees had become as small as grass. She couldn't even see things that were smaller than trees clearly. She looked at the Miniman's ladder, even though it was taller than trees, it was not even 1/1000th of Boundless forest samsara's ladder. Boundless forest samsara walked down the ladder and smiled at the Miniman. "Miniman, oh Miniman, don't waste your effort. Your strength is too small, even if you spend your entire life, you will not be able to build such a ladder. You might as well use this time to enjoy life. Actually, you are already very outstanding, you are more knowledgeable than those Miniman compatriots, you have already walked out of the marketplace. You might as well enjoy life." The Miniman thought about it seriously before shaking his head. "But I am not satisfied with being ordinary. When I am not satisfied with being ordinary is like an abyss to me, I want to walk out of it. Even if I do not succeed, I want to work hard. Because if I do not work hard, I will feel like I am not happy." Thus, the Miniman continued to build his ladder. The 3rd year passed. Boundless forest samsara built her ladder very high again. She stood at the top and looked down. She could only see patches of clouds and fog, obscuring her vision. She wanted to see the Miniman's ladder, she barely managed to see it, but found that his ladder was not even 1/10,000th of hers. Boundless forest samsara sighed, she felt lonely. The wind blew and her body shuddered, she felt cold again. So standing at the top, not only is it lonely, it is also cold. Boundless forest samsara walked down the ladder, telling the Miniman about this feeling. The Miniman shook his head. "My ladder is not high enough, I don't know what you feel like." Boundless forest samsara felt very bored. She continued to build her ladder, but she spent less and less time every day. Strength Gu asked her occasionally, "Oh human, why are you not building your ladder?" Boundless forest samsara replied, "The ladder is too high, it is too cold, I need to rest and warm up my body." A year passed like this. Boundless forest samsara felt very bored. She continued to build her ladder, but she spent less and less time working hard every day. Strength Gu would occasionally ask her, "Oh human, why don't you go and build your ladder?" Boundless forest samsara replied, "The ladder is too high, Every time I look down, I feel a little afraid. I need to rest and calm my heart. Another year passed. Boundless forest samsara became even lazier. Strength Gu asked her, "Look at the Miniman beside you, he is always building his ladder, he has never slacked off, he is giving it his all. If you continue to be so lazy, he will surpass you one day." Boundless forest samsara smiled, "How can that be? My one day is equivalent to his 1 month of hard work. How can I be surpassed by him? Year after year, day after day." Finally, one day, the Miniman found Boundless Forest Samsara who was resting under a tree. He said to her, "Oh my friend, my ladder has reached the edge of the abyss, I can leave tomorrow, I can leave ordinary abyss." Boundless Forest Samsara laughed loudly, "Oh Miniman, don't lie to me, this is too laughable." The Miniman shook his head, saying seriously, "There is only a small difference between greatness and laughability. Now, I am no longer laughable, I have become great, I can leave this ordinary abyss. If you don't believe me, watch me climb out." Thus, the Miniman started to climb his ladder. Boundless Forest Samsara was shocked to see that the Miniman's ladder had reached the edge of the abyss. He was really climbing it, he was about to leave ordinary abyss. Boundless Forest Samsara shouted, "Oh Miniman, don't you feel cold?" The Miniman said, "Yes, but I need to build a ladder to climb out." Boundless Forest Samsara shouted again, "Oh Miniman, don't you feel lonely?" The Miniman said, "Yes, but I need to build a ladder to climb out." Boundless Forest Samsara shouted again, "Oh Miniman, don't you feel afraid?" The Miniman said, "Yes, but I need to build a ladder to climb out." After the Miniman said this, his body suddenly shined with a dazzling light. Soon, the light turned into a Gu worm. "My name is Perseverance, O Miniman, thank you for nurturing me." Perseverance Gu thanked the Miniman. The Miniman smiled, "That's great, even though I have no strength, I have perseverance." The Miniman said as he climbed out of ordinary abyss, stepping into the outside world. He first saw a person. That was Renzu. The time in ordinary abyss was not the same as the outside world. Renzu looked at the Miniman and sighed, "This is perseverance Gu. It is a pity, if I had it back then, I would have conquered Reverse Flow River." Chapter 1283. Flood Extremity thought that Perseverance Gu was a Gu worm created in the legends of Renzu. But Black Extremity shook his head, "Perseverance Immortal Gu is not a fictional Gu worm. In fact, it existed in the past." Flood Extremity was shocked, "How come I don't know about it? This is something I accidentally obtained when I was roaming in northern plains." The person who refined Perseverance Immortal Gu was the famous Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. He was the one who entered the door of life and death and brought Reverse Flow River into the world. He should be the first owner of Reverse Flow River. Black Extremity said, "Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. Is that so? But why is Reverse Flow River in old ancestor Shuehu's hands now?" Flood Extremity asked. Black Extremity shook his head, "I don't know what is going on." Right at this time, there was a soft sound. Inside the fate reversing sacrificial refinement subformation, some mortal Gu exploded. The pillar of light that the subformation emitted also shrunk by 10%. This sudden change interrupted their conversation. Flood Extremity became nervous. "A portion of the Gu formation is destroyed, aren't you going to repair it?" Black Extremity shook his head, "This is within my expectations. Even the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement subformation cannot withstand the power of Reverse Flow River, it will be destroyed. And this formation has a flaw. Once it is activated, it cannot be repaired, unless the entire Gu formation is stopped." Flood Extremity frowned. "The Reverse Flow River hasn't been drawn here yet. What should we do?" Black Extremity smiled, "Don't worry, I created this formation, how could I not expect this? In fact, there are benefits to the Gu formation being destroyed." Flood Extremity was even more confused. There are benefits to the Gu formation being destroyed? Every time a portion of the Gu formation is destroyed, the influence on Reverse Flow River will be reduced by 10%. The latter part of Reverse Flow River will not be affected, it will return to normal. That way, the The reverse flow river will be able to display its power and wash away the people and objects behind it, Black Extremity explained. Amazing. Flood Extremity clapped his hands in praise, his eyes shining. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun have been arranged to be at the forefront. This way, they will be the last to be eliminated. Black Extremity nodded. That is correct. In the reverse river. Lord Bai Chen Tian. The three Central Continent GU immortals greeted Bai Chen Tian. Bai Chen Tian nodded. Currently, there were already 5 people beside him. Including these 3 people and himself, there were 9 people. Did you see Ma Hongyun or Zhao Lianyun? The GU immortals shook their heads. Have you seen this person before? Bai Chen Tian described Fang Yuan's appearance and clothing to the GU immortals. The Central Continent GU immortals looked at each other. One of them suddenly said, I think I saw him before, but I did not stop him. At that time, I hid behind the driftwood, so he didn't notice me and just swam forward. Bai Chen Tian nodded. My lord, this person is not in our intelligence. Is he a friend or foe? Someone asked. The Central Continent GU immortals were confused, because Bai Chen Tian was a Grand Rank 8 GU immortal, he would not ask about a Rank 7 GU immortal for no reason. Speaking of which, Fang Yuan's cultivation was not outstanding. Especially among the Central Continent GU immortals, most of them had Rank 7 cultivation level. But Bai Chen Tian's next words made the Central Continent GU immortals' hearts shake. He is a strong enemy. If you meet him, you must be extra careful. Because in terms of physical strength, I can only fight him to a draw. The Central Continent GU immortals nodded, they had solemn expressions. What do we do now? Someone asked. We have the numbers now, we will swim up. If we can kill the enemy in reverse flow river, that would be for the best. Bai Chen Tian said this as killing intent surged in his heart. This was indeed a rather correct strategy. For the Central Continent GU immortals, if they fought, they were not old ancestor Xue Hu and Zishan Makoto's match. Now that he had lost the immortal GU House Edge Link camp, he was no match for these two. The change in reverse flow river gave the Central Continent GU immortals a great opportunity. Bai Chen Tian felt that as long as they could grasp this opportunity, they might be able to kill the enemy in reverse flow river and turn the tables. What's going on? Right at this time, a certain water path GU immortal among the Central Continent GU immortals sensed the change in the water flow. Next, these Central Continent GU immortals saw that the reverse flow river water around them had calmed down from its turbulent state. Finally, the river surface slowly flowed with ripples. Large numbers of rocks, wood, and beast corpses were swept away by the silent river water. The speed was 5 times faster than the turbulent river water earlier. How can this be? Some Central Continent GU immortals were caught off guard, they were swept away by the river water. In the blink of an eye, they were 200 to 300 steps away from Bai Chen Tian and the rest. Bai Chen Tian was the first to react. Quick, swim up, we cannot stop for even a moment. Reverse flow river has returned to normal, if we stop now, we will be swept away by the river. He shouted. Hearing Bai Chen Tian's reminder, the other Central Continent GU immortals reacted, they quickly swam forward. So difficult. The river water is flowing slowly, but it is several times more difficult than the turbulent waves earlier. These wood and beast corpses are annoying, they are interfering with our progress. The Central Continent GU immortals soon found that it was much more difficult to swim in this normal reverse flow. So what? The higher we are in reverse flow river, the more difficult it is to swim. Persevere. We do not need to swim upstream, we only need to wait for enemies to kill them. If we kill a rank 8 GU immortal, we can turn the tables. Bai Chen Tian raised the morale. The Central Continent GU immortals responded. This way, reverse flow river is our chance. Lord Bai Chen Tian, look ahead, the river water is still turbulent. Bai Chen Tian heard this and found something amiss. He frowned immediately. This was bad news. Swimming in the seemingly calm reverse flow river was much more tiring than swimming in the turbulent water. At this rate, as time passes, when Central Continent's GU immortals encounter the enemies that were washed down by reverse flow river, They would be exhausted, they would be a bunch of exhausted soldier. Quick! We need to swim to the front, into the turbulent water. Bai Chen Tian had a solemn expression as he gave the correct order. The Central Continent GU Immortals received the order and increased their speed. Fang Yuan swam in the current. He kept searching for Ying Wuxie's figure, but he could not find him. The river water was turbulent, huge waves were created from time to time. As the waves churned, the corpses of the wild beasts and countless rocks and trees in the river would be tossed up. The situation on the river was very complicated. Most importantly, the river was very wide. Fang Yuan could not patrol from a high vantage point. No matter how good his eyesight was, his vision was limited. However, he found many GU Immortals. Among them were Central Continent GU Immortals, as well as Northern Plains Snowy Mountain Blessed Land Peak Lords. But Fang Yuan avoided them all. He did not deal with them. Dealing with these people would only waste his time. He would not gain anything. This river is too wide. I might have already surpassed Ying Wuxie when I swam earlier. I am now upstream of him. This is possible. But Fang Yuan did not give up. Because there was a high chance that Ying Wuxie was still upstream. He swam with all his strength. He was like a fish, agilely moving forward in the complicated water. The sovereign immortal body gave him excellent eyesight, stamina, and recovery speed on par with rank 8 GU Immortals, and most importantly, he had trained his swimming ability to an instinctive level. All of this allowed him to surpass many GU Immortals. In contrast, because Bai Chen Tian had to gather the Central Continent GU Immortals, he had to search the same river segment. He was at the back. A leopard raccoon moved through the water, pouncing towards Zhao Lianyun. The leopard raccoon was smaller than a leopard, but it could swim. Thus, even though it was swept away by reverse flow river, it managed to survive. Go away. Mu Ling Lan slapped with one palm, killing the leopard raccoon. His other hand grabbed onto Zhao Lianyun's arm. Zhao Lianyun was only a phantom aperture false immortal. Her foundation was weak. She had almost no Dao marks. Without GU worms, she was as weak as a normal person. Thankfully, when she was swept into reverse flow river, the rank 7 water path GU immortal Mu Linglan was beside her. Because of Mu Linglan's protection, Zhao Lianyun managed to survive until now. Mu Linglan's water path Dao marks actually allowed him to breathe freely in water. At the same time, his water skills were outstanding as well. He protected Zhao Lianyun along the way. Not only did he avoid danger time and time again, he even brought her forward. Look, there's a mound ahead. After Mu Linglan repelled the leopard raccoon, his eyes shined as he saw a mound floating on the river surface. This mound is made of soil. No wonder it can float on the water and not sink. Let's rest there. Mu Linglan dragged Zhao Lianyun as he climbed the mound with difficulty. Zhao Lianyun was extremely tired. She was on the verge of death. Once she reached the shore, she collapsed on the mound, not moving, not wanting to get up. Mu Linglan was also extremely tired. He breathed roughly. Wait, there's someone on the mound. Mu Linglan suddenly stood up. His gaze turned ruthless. Don't be agitated, don't be agitated. A figure walked out of the forest on the mound. Mu Linglan saw this person and was stunned. Zhao Lianyun was even more stunned. Because the person who appeared in front of them was Ma Hongyun. The immortals were all in a sorry state, but Ma Hongyun's clothes were clean and tidy. He was still chewing on a fruit in his hand. You are Ma Hongyun, Mu Linglan exclaimed. Ma Hongyun took a step back. Are you here to capture me? Zhao Lianyun mustered her remaining strength. She stood up shakily. She looked at Ma Hongyun. Her throat was moving, but she could not speak. Before using love, she had used GU worms to speak, but now, in reverse flow river, she could not use any GU worms. At this moment, Zhao Lianyun finally saw the person she had yearned for day and night. She was extremely excited. She took a step forward. But at the next moment, she hesitated. What did she look like now? She knew clearly. She was no longer young, she was an old woman. Her hair was white, her wrinkles were deep, and she was as thin as a stick. Could Ma Hongyun still recognize her in this appearance? Could she still use this appearance to meet her lover, and let him see her like this? Zhao Lianyun suddenly lost all her courage. She lowered her head, not daring to look at Ma Hongyun's eyes. While Zhao Lianyun was hesitating, she suddenly heard Ma Hongyun's exclamation. You are Lady Xiaoyun? Zhao Lianyun's body shook. She raised her head and saw Ma Hongyun throwing away the fruit in his hand. He ran towards her excitedly. Lady Xiaoyun, Lady Xiaoyun, I missed you so much. Ma Hongyun shouted loudly. Mu Linglan saw this. He was deeply moved, he explained. Fairy Lianyun rushed over from Central Continent to save you. She ended up like this. Lady Xiaoyun. Ma Hongyun ran to Zhao Lianyun, grabbing Zhao Lianyun's hand. He also choked with sobs, unable to speak for a moment. At this moment, Zhao Lianyun only felt immense happiness filled her heart. All the sacrifices she made earlier were worth it. Chapter 1284. Boom. A dull sound came from the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement subformation. Flood Extremity was no longer surprised. He took a glance before shifting his gaze. In just a while, the GU formation's light beam had shrunk by 50%. This GU formation is quite interesting. At this time, a strange voice entered Flood Extremity's ears. Who is it? Flood Extremity was shocked. His GU immortal aura burst out. He was about to use a powerful method. Lad, don't be nervous, don't move. That strange voice said calmly. At that moment, Flood Extremity could not move. He felt like he had fallen into an icy cave. This person was unimaginably strong. He was a Grand Rank 7 GU immortal, one of the 8 extremities of longevity heaven, but he could not react at all. He was easily suppressed by the other party. You are my master's descendant. As long as you do not attack me, I will not eat you. He. That voice said again. Next, Flood Extremity saw a huge beast the size of a hill. It slowly appeared in front of him. This was a 4-legged monster with purple fur. It looked like a ferret. The purple fur on its body was glossy and smooth, and its eyes shone like amethyst. The most eye-catching part was its tail. This was not a ferret's tail, it was a dog's tail. A ferret with a dog's tail? Flood Extremity was momentarily stunned, because he thought of a certain existence. As expected, at the next moment, the information path GU worm in his immortal aperture transmitted information to South Desolation Immortal. He could not leave now. This huge beast was the helper he invited to deal with anyone who dared to obstruct longevity heaven. You are the dog-tail life-extending ferret? Ancestor Giant Sun's Mount? Flood Extremity stammered. The huge beast nodded. It grinned as it said in dissatisfaction. Don't call me Mount, I have a name too. I am Maro Li Chiu. Just call me Grandpa Mao. Mao. Grandpa Mao. On the other side, Black Extremity was also tongue-tied. He was still in shock. Alright, let's stop this GU formation. Let's go to Reverse Flow River and take away Ma Hongyun and Ari. Maro Li Chiu waved its claw. Immediately, intense winds blew as the aura of countless GU worms burst out, forming into an immortal killer move. The fate-reversing sacrificial subformation that the Black Extremity had painstakingly set up collapsed and turned into a pile of ruins. The Black Extremity's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Don't be like this. You're disturbing Grandpa Mao's sweet dreams. Is it fun? Hurry up and finish this. Grandpa Maro wants to go back to the cave to sleep. The huge sable Maro Li Chiu said, then exhaled. This aura spread out rapidly, binding up Flood Extremity and Flood Extremity in an instant. The giant marten's 4 limbs lightly stomped on the ground, and its heavy body that was as large as a mountain lightly flew into the sky. Beside it, Flood Extremity and Black Extremity were being dragged along by an invisible aura as they followed the giant marten towards the Reverse Flow River. What's going on? Reverse Flow River suddenly changed, affecting all the GU immortals inside the river. After a huge change, the entire Reverse Flow River calmed down. The river surface flowed slowly with faint ripples. Reverse Flow River has returned to normal. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light. He felt that it was much more difficult now. A vast amount of junk could not move forward on their own. They were washed away by Reverse Flow River. At once, many GU immortals chose to go downstream with these undead creatures, leaving Reverse Flow River. This was the only way to leave reverse flow river. The situation is not good. Fang Yuan did not see Ying Wuxie and the rest. He continued to move forward. In the sky, Bai Chen Tian and the other central continent GU immortals looked down at reverse flow river. These people originally wanted to go against the current, but the second half of the reverse flow river gradually returned to normal as the child formation was damaged. Bai Chen Tian saw that this was not working. He could still hold on, but the other GU immortals were expended. They chose to go downstream and leave reverse flow river, going upstream from the sky. However, this way, they would become outsiders, and any methods they used against the reverse flow river would be returned to them. Bai Chen Tian soon found Fang Yuan, who was in reverse flow river. We can forget about our previous enmity, as long as you hand over affection immortal GU. Bai Chen Tian sent an ultimatum to Fang Yuan. This is the rank 7 GU immortal who fought Lord Bai Chen Tian to a draw. How does he cultivate? The other central continent GU immortals looked at Fang Yuan with curious gazes. Fang Yuan smiled coldly, ignoring Bai Chen Tian. Someone among the central continent GU immortals shouted, "Audacious! You dare to disrespect Lord Bai Chen Tian." Bai Chen Tian snorted coldly, "You think I can't do anything to you if you hide in reverse flow river? Before I'm washed down, you should worry about yourself. After all, this is not central continent." Fang Yuan replied without fear. Bai Chen Tian's thoughts were exposed, his expression turned colder. He gave up on Fang Yuan and continued to move upstream. Fang Yuan's matter was a small matter. The most important thing was Zhao Lianyun and Ma Hongyun. Because the dog-tail life-extending ferret destroyed the subformation, the complicated situation on the river became clear. The irrelevant items were washed away, only a few groups of GU immortals were left on the river. At the front were Ma Hongyun, Zhao Lianyun, and Mu Linglan. The second group were Old Ancestor Shui Hu, Zishan Makoto, and Lady Wan Shou. The third group was the Central Continent Rank 8 GU Immortal Wei Lingyang, as well as some Central Continent GU Immortals. The fourth group was Ying Wuxie and the rest, as well as some Snowy Peak Lords. The fifth group was Fang Yuan. When he was swept into Reverse Flow River, he was too far from Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. He was at the back of the river. Even though he was swimming upstream, the others were also working hard. Speaking of which, the situation was quite interesting. "Quick, swim forward." Mu Linglan looked at Old Ancestor Shui Hu and Zishan Makoto, who were not far away. His heart was in his throat. The floating mound earlier had already been washed away. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun could only swim forward to avoid being caught by Old Ancestor Shui Hu again. The second group was Old Ancestor Shui Hu and Zishan Makoto. In order to catch Ma Hongyun again, they chased after him. The third group was Wei Lingyang. He did not want to give up. As long as he held back Old Ancestor Shui Hu and Zishan Makoto, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun would have a chance to swim downstream. They would be able to resolve this crisis. Ying Wuxie and the Snowy Mountain Demonic Path GU Immortals had the same idea as Wei Lingyang. Even though they were at the back, they had a chance. "Look, the one behind us." He Lulan suddenly reminded. Ying Wuxie turned around and saw Fang Yuan. His heart jumped. "He actually chased us all the way here." Right now, the river surface was calm, there was no debris, they could see very clearly. Thus, Ying Wuxie immediately found Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan did not know about Zishan Makoto yet. Even though he could see Old Ancestor Shui Hu from his angle. But Zishan Makoto was a small person, he was thumb-sized, he was sitting on Old Ancestor Shui Hu's shoulder, he could not be seen clearly. Fang Yuan did not know what happened in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Even though he met Bai Chen Tian, he only knew that a battle of rank 8s had happened in Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. Why would Bai Chen Tian tell him which side had the advantage? Thus, Fang Yuan had always thought that as long as he got rid of Ying Wuxie and the rest, he would be able to resolve the threat of Shadow Sect. Thus, when he saw Ying Wuxie, his eyes shined with a bright light. He swam towards Ying Wuxie even faster. "He is our enemy." A Snowy Mountain Peak Lord looked at Fang Yuan and sneered. "Come, let's kill him together." Outside, GU immortal methods can be used, the situation is complicated. But in the Reverse Flow River, his alone. Once he said this, the other GU immortals became restless. Ying Wuxie could not help but feel moved. If he could kill Fang Yuan now, it would be a good chance to obtain the sovereign immortal body. But the sovereign immortal body is not so easy to deal with. It is more appropriate to meet up with Lord Z. After all, my main body is still trapped in the dream realm. Ying Wuxie thought about it. He decided to look at the bigger picture. Follow me, we will meet up with Lord Snowy Mountain first. He is not the main point. Our biggest enemy is the central continent GU immortals. Ying Wuxie did not expose Fang Yuan's background. He successfully diverted the attention of the Snowy Mountain GU immortals. That's right, let's meet up with Ancestor first. The Snowy Mountain Peak Lords could not go with the flow now, because a rank 8 central continent GU immortal was already in the sky. Once they left Reverse Flow River, they would face the rank 8 GU immortals' methods. They could only stay in Reverse Flow River for now. But soon, they found that staying in Reverse Flow River was not easy. In this special environment, if they could not move forward, they would be washed away by the river. Back then, Ren Zhu had failed in Reverse Flow River. At the final moment of success, his efforts had failed. Nobody felt that they could achieve the same feat as Ren Zhu. But in the current situation, every group of GU immortals had their own reasons to stay in Reverse Flow River. Ma Hongyun, you cannot escape. Old Ancestor Snowy Mountain's gaze was cold. Lady Wan Shou snickered. Quick, let's go. They are catching up. Ma Hongyun and Mu Linglan moved to the left and right, supporting Zhao Lianyun. Fairy Lianyun, hold on. We are about to catch up. Wei Ling shouted. Ying Wuxie was behind them, waiting for an opportunity. At the same time, he was having a headache over Fang Yuan. He had to move faster and delay Fang Yuan. Ying Wuxie. Fang Yuan was already getting closer to Ying Wuxie. Soon, someone could not hold on anymore. The first was a Snowy Mountain Peak Lord. He was almost out of stamina. His face was pale as he swam with the flow. Fang Yuan took the initiative to avoid him. Now was not the time to fight. If he stopped moving, he would be dragged down. Even if he got rid of his opponent, he would fall behind. Be careful. In the sky, Bai Chen Tian shouted. We finally caught up to you. You mice. Old Ancestor Shui, who had already swum behind Zhao Lianyun and the rest. Zhao Lianyun knew that he had no more stamina. If he continued, he would only be a burden to Ma Hongyun. Chapter 1285. Mu Ling Lan. Behind Old Ancestor Shui Hu, Wei Ling shouted angrily. Mu Ling Lan had already made up his mind. He gritted his teeth and moved faster than Zhao Lianyun, pushing the frail Zhao Lianyun into Ma Hongyun's arms. Live well. Saying this, he turned around and hugged Old Ancestor Shui Hu's waist. Old Ancestor Shui Hu struggled, but he could not move forward. He was washed away by the Reverse Flow River. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun's crisis was resolved for now. Quick, leave. Ma Hongyun held on to Zhao Lianyun. His heart was pounding. Damn you. Old Ancestor Shui Hu hated Mu Linglan to the core. He kicked Mu Linglan's chest with his knees. His Dao marks naturally surpassed Mu Linglan by countless times. Mu Linglan was only rank 7. How could he be his match? Soon, his bones broke. He spat out mouthfuls of blood, dyeing the surrounding river red. After more than 10 breaths of time, Mu Linglan could not hold on any longer. He stopped breathing and died. Seeing their comrade die in front of them, the Central Continent GU Immortals were furious. Mu Linglan, Central Continent will remember your sacrifice. The Celestial Court will remember it. Wei Ling shouted as he pounced towards Old Ancestor Shui Hu. Old Ancestor Shui Hu was entangled by Mu Linglan. He had already fallen to the third group. He was immediately attacked by the furious Central Continent GU Immortals. Shui Hu. Lady Wan Shou was worried about her husband's safety. She rushed back to help him. Both sides fought and flowed downstream. They soon collided with Ying Wuxie and the rest in the fourth group. At this moment, a large number of GU Immortals were fighting in the river. The scene was very chaotic. Bai Chen Tian and the rest were dumbfounded as they watched from the sky. They were grand GU Immortals, but now they had lost all their poise. They were fighting in the water like mortals fighting each other. But it was too late for Bai Chen Tian to interfere now. Soon, blood dyed the surroundings red, many Gu immortal corpses flowed downstream. Ying Wu Xie. Fang Yuan joined the battle, he had finally arrived. Where is my lord? Ying Wu Xie finally found old ancestor Shui Hu in the chaotic battle and asked loudly. Still upstream. Old ancestor Shui Hu answered. As it turned out, while old ancestor Shui Hu and Mu Linglan were entangled, Zishan Makoto went upstream alone, planning to capture Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun alive. Precisely so, old ancestor Shui Hu was willing to fight with the central continent Gu immortals. This was his plan to obstruct the enemy. Having received the answer, Ying Wu Xie whistled and led He Lulan and the others away from the battle, rushing toward Zishan Makoto. Fang Yuan roared, Ying Wu Xie, where are you going? Ying Wu Xie sighed and shouted, where is Tai Bai Yunsheng? You guys go. Tai Bai Yunsheng immediately responded. With an expression that said he was unafraid of death, he pounced on Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was blocked. Ying Wu Xie, He Lulan, and Bai Ningbing managed to escape. Bam bam bam. Fang Yuan's attacks were heavy and powerful. Soon, Tai Bai Yunsheng's bones and tendons were broken. But Tai Bai Yunsheng was already determined to die. He tightly clung onto Fang Yuan and hugged him tightly, even using his teeth to bite and headbutt. Fang Yuan could not break free at this moment. In a moment of desperation, he shouted, Old Bai, do you still remember Imperial Court Blessed Land? Tai Bai Yunsheng was stunned, he exposed a flaw. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with ruthlessness, his 2 fingers pierced Tai Bai Yunsheng's eyes mercilessly. Tai Bai Yunsheng was heavily injured, large amounts of blood flowed out of his eye sockets. Fang Yuan used this opportunity to attack again. Tai Bai Yunsheng finally stopped moving, he was motionless. He was dead. Fang Yuan shook off Tai Bai Yunsheng's corpse as he continued to swim, chasing after Ying Wu Xie. At this moment, old ancestor Shui Hu and Wei Lingyang's chaotic battle was also split up. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. Bai Chen Tian looked at Reverse Flow River, he could see the situation clearly. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were still at the front, they were the first group. Zishan Makoto was second. Ying Wu Xie and the rest were third. Fang Yuan was fourth. Old ancestor Shui Hu and Lady Wan Shou were fifth. Wei Lingyang and the rest of the central continent Gu immortals were sixth. Bai Chen Tian was anxious, central continent side was already in a disadvantageous position. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were in the first group, there was no second Mu Linglan to protect them. The second group's Zishan Makoto was the enemy, while Ying Wu Xie and the rest were vicious members of Shadow Sect. The fifth group was old ancestor Shui Hu and Lady Wan Shou, there was no need to mention them. Without a choice, Bai Chen Tian could only target Fang Yuan. Friend. You only need to protect the lives of the 2 people at the front, you will obtain the friendship of Central Continent, and even the Celestial Court. Just tell me, what immortal GU or cultivation resources do you want? My huge Central Continent can satisfy you. As long as you protect Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. This again. Fang Yuan heard this and sighed internally. He thought of Imperial Court Blessed Land. In Imperial Court Blessed Land, he was facing a choice. If he could help Ma Hongyun, it would be very beneficial to him. The current situation was similar to the Royal Court Blessed Land. But Fang Yuan did not say anything, he only swam upwards. Right now, he wanted to get rid of Ying Wu Xie and the rest. Who cares about Ma Hongyun, get lost. But what followed was a long stalemate. The further up Reverse Flow River went, the harder it was to move. Stamina and Dao Mark Foundation were secondary, the most important thing was the test of one's willpower. Lady Xiao Yun, we need to persevere. I believe that there will definitely be a chance. Ma Hongyun continued to speak, encouraging Zhao Lianyun in his arms. The river water was cold, but in Ma Hongyun's arms, Zhao Lianyun felt an incomparable warmth. This warmth gave her great motivation, she could still grit her teeth and persevere. Following behind them was Zishan Makoto. Ma Hongyun, Zhao Lianyun. He. As long as I capture you, I can suppress old ancestor Shui Hu. At that time, I'll let him deal with Southern Border's giant dream realm. Purple Mountain True Monarch's mind was racing. Protect Lord Purple. Ying Wuxie was worried. Wife, wake up. Old Ancestor Shuai, whose side had a problem. Lady Wan Shou had fainted. She was heavily injured in the chaotic battle. She lasted for a while before fainting. Old Ancestor Shuai, who panicked internally. He gritted his teeth and stopped paddling, hugging Lady Wan Shou as he allowed himself to be washed away by reverse flow river. Wei Lingyang and the rest allowed him to leave. They wanted one less strong competitor. Old Ancestor Shuai, who quickly left reverse flow river, using GU immortal methods, he stabilized Lady Wan Shou's condition. Bai Chen Tian became nervous. He could not deal with Old Ancestor Shuai, who alone. The other Central Continent GU immortals around him could not interfere in the battle of rank 8s without immortal GU houses. I'll kill you first. Old Ancestor Shuai, who carefully placed the unconscious Lady Wan Shou into his immortal aperture. Next, he charged towards Bai Chen Tian. He was the #1 demonic path person in Northern Plains. He was ruthless. How could he give up on this chance to beat up a fallen enemy? At most, I will die. Bai Chen Tian was determined to die. He did not dodge. But when the two rank 8s were about to fight, they sensed a powerful aura. The mountainous dog-tailed Violet Martin finally arrived at the reverse flow riverside with Flood Extremity and Black Extremity. Chapter 1286. Outside Reverse Flow River. Old Ancestor Shuai, who wanted to fight Bai Chen Tian, but at this time, the dog-tail life-extending ferret, Maro Li Qiu, appeared. Why is this ferret here? Doesn't it stay in a cave all year round? Old Ancestor Shuai, who was shocked. This ferret had a huge origin. It was Giant Sun Immortal's mount in the past. Giant Sun Immortal subdued it in his later years. His motive was obvious. It was to find a way to extend his lifespan. This dog-tail life-extending ferret had a huge amount of Dao marks. It was very mystical. As it grew older, its dog tail would shorten along with its lifespan. Once its lifespan was near its end, its tail would vanish. Thus, whenever it felt that its lifespan was near its end, it would devour an immemorial desolate hound. After devouring it, the dog-tail life-extending ferret would obtain the immemorial desolate hound's lifespan. It would grow a dogtail and continue living. Precisely so, Giant Sun Immortal died, while the dogtail life-extending ferret survived until now. This giant ferret was blessed by Giant Sun Immortal. It gained intelligence and knew how to use GU worms, even immortal killer moves. It was an immemorial desolate beast. It had intelligence and could use immortal GU to unleash all sorts of methods. Its strength was unfathomable. Even Old Ancestor Shuai, who was wary of it. Old Ancestor Shuai, who wanted to deal with Bai Chen Tian, but now that the dogtail life-extending ferret appeared, he gave up on this plan. To think that Maro Li Qiu saved me. Bai Chen Tian let out a breath of air. He relaxed slightly. He also knew about the dogtail life-extending ferret. Because this immemorial desolate beast was too famous. Like Central Continent's Huakong and that evil dragon Di Zongxing, they were special existences. Their battle strength was at the peak of rank 8. Old Ancestor Shuai, whose gaze focused on the two longevity heaven GU immortals beside the dogtail life-extending ferret. Old Ancestor Shuai, whose gaze was focused on Black Extremity. He chuckled coldly. As expected, Sun Ming Lu, you are a member of Longevity Heaven. To think that Longevity Heaven has already started to target me. He had already guessed this before, and now that he saw the Black Extremity in person, his guesses were confirmed. Black Extremity bowed towards Old Ancestor Shuai, who, Old Ancestor Shuai, who, we meet again. I am Black Extremity, one of the 8 extremities of Longevity Heaven. My name, Sun Ming Lu, is merely an alias I use to travel around Northern Plains. Old Ancestor Shuai, who sneered, but did not show any signs of attacking. That was because the dog-tailed life-extending ferret was by the Black Extremity's side. It was not that Old Ancestor Shuai who was afraid of Maro Li Qiu, but he knew that the crux of the matter was not on the 3 of them, but on Reverse Flow River. Before the situation in the Reverse Flow River was settled, it was not a good time to make a move and let a third party take advantage of the situation. After greeting Old Ancestor Shuai, who, Black Extremity stared at Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun in the river. Grandpa Marrow, the two people in front are our target. The Black Extremity reminded the dog-tailed life-extending martin. Bai Chen Tian frowned. Old ancestor Shuai, whose sneer became even colder. But Marrow Li Qiu did not care as it curled its lips. Its huge beast face showed a very human expression. No rush. Let's wait for them to decide the victor. We are outside Reverse Flow River. Even though we can use GU worms, we cannot attack it. Any immortal method will be reflected on us by Reverse Flow River. Why would I seek trouble for myself? Although every strike of the Reverse Flow River would reduce a portion of the river's water, the Reverse Flow River was not as powerful as before. But with such a large river, how many years and months would it take to dry it up? Grandpa Marrow, won't do such a thankless thing. Saying so, it paused before continuing. Don't worry, these people will not last long. The further upstream Reverse Flow River goes, the more willpower is tested. They are swimming in Reverse Flow River now. Any thoughts of persevering in their minds will be reflected by Reverse Flow River. Any determination will waver and be washed away by Reverse Flow River. The three rank 8 existences were wary of each other. They did not attack. Outside the river, the GU Immortals were all looking at Reverse Flow River. In the river, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were still in first place. Purple Mountain True Monarch was in the second position, very close to Ma and Zhao. Ying Wu Xie, Bai Ning Bing, and He Lulan were third. Next was Fang Yuan. The fifth was originally Old Ancestor Shuai Hu and Lady Wn Shou, but earlier, Old Ancestor Shuai Hu gave up on the competition to save the unconscious Lady Wn Shou. He came to Reverse Flow River. Thus, the fifth was Celestial Court's rank 8 Rule Path GU Immortal Wei Lingyang, as well as several Central Continent GU Immortals. Zishan Makoto moved his limbs, he even flapped the thin wings on his back from time to time. Ma and Zhao were already very close to him. I need to persevere. If I capture these two, I will be able to suppress Old Ancestor Shuai Hu and deal with Central Continent. Zishan Makoto's eyes were filled with determination. Reverse Flow River continued to reflect on the will in his mind. He shook his head, trying to get rid of the hesitation in his heart. 90,000 years ago, Providence attacked. I had to make many deductions before I found the final hope of survival. I sealed myself and turned into a purple gold rock. But I was still framed by Providence and often fell into a state of insanity and amnesia. These last 100,000 years, I woke up many times and experienced many dangers. With the help of Shadow Sect, I managed to escape and survive. Right now, even though my main body successfully refined the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, it was snatched away by others. My main body fell into a dream realm again. He is in a precarious situation. The huge Shadow Sect has already been wiped out. The situation does not allow me to fail. I need to persevere until I capture Ma and Zhao. We are about to succeed. Zishan Makoto's dual sources shined. He was already very close to Ma and Zhao. Oh no, Zishan Makoto is going to capture Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. Central Continent's GU Immortals were shocked. Old Ancestor Shuai Hu, Ying Wu Xie, and the rest had joyful expressions. What do we do? Flood Extremity shouted. Nothing. Marrow Li Qiu rolled its eyes, unless they come out. But at this time, Zishan Makoto suddenly screamed as he hugged his head, struggling with a pained expression. What is going on? What happened? The Immortals were bewildered. He actually acted up at this time. Damn it. Ying Wu Xie cursed the heavens in his heart. At the crucial moment, Zishan Makoto fell into a state of insanity. He swam down rapidly. Thankfully, Ying Wu Xie was already following Zishan Makoto, to prevent him from falling into insanity. He immediately caught Zishan Makoto. The group of four continued to swim upwards. This way, Ma and Zhao escaped danger. They were still in first place. Zishan Makoto fell down. He was in second place with Ying Wu Xie and the rest. Third was Fang Yuan. Fourth was the Central Continent GU Immortals led by Wei Lingyang. Lord Wei Lingyang, it is all up to you. Bai Chen Tian was overjoyed. The Central Continent GU Immortals also started to cheer. Something happened to Zishan Makoto. This was great news to Central Continent. Especially those GU immortals who did not know Fang Yuan's true strength. They felt that only Central Continent rank 8 Wei Lingyang was left in Reverse Flow River. Even though Wei Lingyang was in last place, he could still win. Wei Lingyang gritted his teeth. The difficulty of swimming was getting higher, and more importantly, Reverse Flow River was affecting his every thought. Any thought of swimming upwards and persevering would be affected by Reverse Flow River. Many thoughts were washed away, but there was one thought that seemed to have taken root in Wei Lingyang's heart. I need to persevere. Because I am Central Continent's only hope. If I can capture Ma Hongyun and save Zhao Lianyun, we will have a chance to return in victory. I cannot fail. Central Continent's glory, Celestial Court's glory, I cannot lose it because of me. Wei Lingyang swam forward as usual, he was very stable. The Central Continent GU immortals around him also followed behind him. This group of GU immortals was the largest force in Reverse Flow River. They were very eye-catching. Even the dog-tail life-extending ferret, Maro Li Chiu, said, "Oh? It seems that Central Continent has a huge advantage. TMPH, Celestial Court's influence is still as long as ever. This cannot happen. Ma Hongyun is a Northern Plains person." Bai Chen Tian frowned. He looked at Maro Li Chiu, then at old ancestor Shui who had a cold expression. He started to worry. Even if Wei Lingyang defeats his competitors and captures Ma and Zhao, what will happen after he leaves Reverse Flow River? Bai Chen Tian thought about it but could not think of a way to escape. He could only continue to watch. Time passed by minutes and seconds. The situation in Reverse Flow River did not change. Ma Zhao was still first. Ying Wuxie and the rest were second. Fang Yuan was in the third place. And Wei Lingyang and the other Central Continent GU immortals were fourth. The order of the four groups of GU immortals did not change, but the distance between them had shrunk. Oh! These people are actually able to persevere. Strange, how can there be such heroes among humans? The dog-tail life-extending ferret, Maro Li Chiu, mumbled as expected, the great era is coming. Every time a great era that can create a venerable, large numbers of geniuses will emerge like a geyser. Bai Chen Tian's eyes shined with bright light. He assessed the GU immortals on Central Continent's side, memorizing their appearances. These people had strong wills. If they grew up, they would become pillars of their respective ancient sect. Persevere. The sect has entrusted the task of protecting Fairy Lianyun to me. I will not give up. I will never give up. Bu Zhenzi frowned. It is like GU refinement. No matter how difficult the process is or how unpredictable the results are, as long as I persevere, there will be gains. Yu Yi Zi encouraged himself internally. Shi Zhengyi had a furious expression. Lord Mu Linglan sacrificed himself to protect Fairy Lianyun. How can I retreat? Do your best. Shi Zhengyi. For love and justice, you cannot retreat. Fang Yuan was expressionless. He stared at Ying Wuxie, looking at their close relationship. That rank 8 GU immortal who went crazy is likely a member of Shadow Sect. I need to kill them all. This Reverse Flow River is the best chance for me to get rid of this threat. Chapter 1287. Reverse Flow River flowed quietly. The higher they went, the calmer the river was. But in the minds of the people who were swimming, Reverse Flow River was flowing in, creating huge waves that would repel any thoughts of swimming upstream. Destruction was not scary, but thoughts and spirits were destroyed. Back then, Renzu also lost in Reverse Flow River. Now, these GU immortals were going to repeat Renzu's mistake. Damn it, I can't hold on anymore. At the next moment, Yu Yi Zi reached his limit. He could not move forward anymore. He was quickly washed away by Reverse Flow River. Next was the second Central Continent GU immortal. The third, Shi Zhengyi, was exhausted. He fainted and was washed away by Reverse Flow River. Bu Zhenzi was very unwilling, but he could only watch as he floated away. Bai Chen Tian and the rest had ugly expressions as the Central Continent GU immortals got eliminated. Not long after, the Central Continent side that had the advantage in numbers only had rank 8 GU immortal Wei Lingyang left. To be able to reach rank 8, His willpower was truly shocking. Wei Lingyang displayed the foundation of a rank 8 expert. As for those GU immortals who were washed away, Bai Chen Tian gathered them one by one. They were not obstructed by old ancestor Shui Hu or the dogtail life-extending ferret, Maro Li Chiu. Why are our GU immortals washed away, but these useless people are still in the river? Some central continent GU immortals could not stand Ying Wuxie, Fang Yuan, and the rest. Mere rank 6, their willpower is truly shocking. But we have all been washed away, they will be here soon. A central continent GU immortal who had just been washed out of reverse flow river said. However, before Fang Yuan or Ying Wuxie ran out of strength, they saw something happening to Ma Hongyun. Ma Hongyun, who was swimming with all his might, suddenly choked on some water. He was almost washed away. Be careful. Even Bai Chen Tian could not help but call out. Ying Wuxie was overjoyed, but at the next moment, Ma Hongyun regained his composure and continued to swim. It was a false alarm. It's that girl, hehe, her willpower is quite shocking. Maro Li Chiu saw through the details. It turned out that at the crucial moment, Zhao Lianyun had actually helped Ma Hongyun, allowing him to stabilize again. As a matter of fact, when the reverse flow river returned to normal, it didn't pose much of a challenge to one's stamina. This was especially true when one reached the upper reaches. The river water became slower and shallower, but the counteracting force against one's willpower and thoughts became stronger and stronger. Hongyun, we can't be separated again. Do you know how much I've experienced, how much I've suffered, and how much I've lost in order to be with you again? Zhao Lianyun was speechless. At this moment, she did not have the strength to speak. Her aged body had already burst forth with a power that even Zhao Lianyun himself found hard to believe. Zhao Lianyun had forgotten about her physical strength and her old age. She just wanted to be with Ma Hongyun. Even if he swam with all his might, he did not even have the time to look at the person beside him. Even if he couldn't speak, even if he was in danger, even if the result is tragic, I will try my best to persevere. Every minute and every second, as long as I'm with him, shoulder to shoulder, no matter what we do, no matter what the situation is, I feel blessed. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun continued to swim forward. Although their speed was very slow, the situation had stabilized. It was a false alarm. Bai Chen Tian and the other central continent GU immortals, as well as Flood Extremity and Black Extremity, were all shocked. Old ancestor Shui Hu snorted coldly, he could not conceal his disappointment. Reverse flow river, which was the focus of all the immortals, every time the situation changed, the GU immortals who were watching from the outside would be affected. Even if there were rank 8 GU immortals among them. Even rank 6 and rank 7 GU immortals were experts among the same cultivation level, they were elites of their regions. Even an immortal zombie body feels tired. Ying Wuxie smiled bitterly. On his head, Zishan Makoto was pulling Ying Wuxie's hair, he was screaming and playing around, crying and laughing at times. I am only a split soul of my main body, I have not been in this world for long. But from the moment I appeared in this world, I knew the responsibility I had to bear. Now, Lord Z has gone crazy again. If I leave him alone, he might choke to death in the river. I am the only hope of Shadow Sect. Even if I die of exhaustion here, I cannot give up. Only by capturing Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun will I have a bargaining chip to stall for time until Lord Z regains consciousness. His responsibilities made Ying Wuxie persevere. Bai Ningbing gritted her teeth, her chest was heaving up and down. He. She even laughed lightly, her face was twisted, her eyes were shining with fervor. Spectacular. This is spectacular. In the reverse flow river, I experienced something I had never experienced before. This is the path that Ren Zhu walked on back then. Interesting. This is too interesting. Even if I fail, this trip is not in vain. Even if I lose my life, it is worth it. He Lu Lan, however, had a furious expression. How can I stop here? Mother, I have not taken revenge for you yet. I have not killed that man with my own hands. Raw. Hang in there for me. He Lolan's body was shaking, she was bursting with unimaginable determination. However, as time passed, someone finally could not hold on anymore. Is this the end of my excitement? I still have great enmity, not, Bai Ningbing and He Lulan were exhausted and were washed out. However, there was no need to worry about their safety, old ancestor Shui who was already waiting outside the river. Thus, there were only 6 people left in the reverse flow river. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were first. Ying Wuxie and the insane Zishan Makoto were second. Fang Yuan was third. Wei Lingyang was fourth. There is still hope. Now, old ancestor Shui who placed all his hopes on Ying Wuxie. As long as Ying Wuxie captured Ma and Zhao Lianyun, old ancestor Shui whose side would have the initiative and control central continents by Chen Tian and the rest, as well as longevity heaven's dogtail life-extending ferret. However, if Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were washed out, everyone would have a chance. At that time, a chaotic battle would erupt, and it would be unclear who would win. Not only did it depend on their strength, it also depended on their luck. Lord Wei Lingyang, it is up to you now. Bai Chen Tian thought to himself. He clenched his fists, they were filled with sweat. The dogtail life-extending ferret snickered. A pair of huge eyes stared at the surface of the river. No one knew what it was thinking. Ah, the glory of our great celestial court. A moment later, Wei Lingyang screamed at the sky. He was unwilling, but he reached his limit. He was washed away by reverse flow river. Central continent's GU immortals gasped in shock. Someone shouted in disbelief, "How can this be? Lord Wei Lingyang is a Grand Rank 8 GU immortal. How can he lose to these people?" Upstream of reverse flow river has nothing to do with cultivation level, it depends on one's own willpower. Someone explained. Central continent's GU immortals were silent. Didn't this mean that the Grand Rank 8 Celestial Court's GU immortal Wei Lingyang's willpower could not compare to these people? Bai Chen Tian spoke slowly. Don't forget, earlier, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were resting on a mound made of soil. According to the information, they even had wild fruits to eat. When reverse flow river flowed, they were already at the front, while the GU immortals behind them had to fight for a long time. Their stamina and willpower would be expended in this process. Central continent's GU immortals realized. That's right. Even though Lord Wei Lingyang lost, if we start from the same starting point, he will definitely be the final victor. Because of Bai Chen Tian's words, Central continent's GU immortals' morale stabilized. Bai Chen Tian was expressionless, but his heart was heavy. What should we do now? Bai Chen Tian was hesitant. As far as Central Continent was concerned, they were already at a huge disadvantage. The safer choice was to retreat and preserve their strength. Or they could go to Black Heaven and see if they could meet up with Myriad Tidal Dragon. With the help of the immortal GU house, they might be able to retaliate. The third choice was to stay here and fight with old ancestor Shui Hu and the dogtail life-extending ferret for Ma and Zhao. Let's wait for Wei Lingyang to return before discussing this. This was a huge matter. Bai Chen Tian could not make the decision. After all, he was not the leader, Wei Lingyang was the leader. However, while they were waiting, something happened in the reverse flow river again. I am unresigned. Ying Wuxie raised his head and shouted, but soon, he was submerged by reverse flow river and washed away. It is finally over. Ying Wuxie, die. Fang Yuan screamed internally. He had been waiting for this moment. He and Ying Wuxie collided violently. Both sides fought in the water, but they stopped moving forward. But this way, Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxie, as well as Zishan Makoto, were unavoidably washed away by reverse flow river. The sovereign immortal body against the strength path immortal zombie. Without a doubt, Ying Wuxie was at an absolute disadvantage. He was instantly beaten by Fang Yuan's punches and kicks, his bones and tendons were broken. But immortal zombies were living dead, they only had one weakness, the brain. Even the heart was not a weakness. Fang Yuan had been an immortal zombie for a period of time, he naturally knew the crux of this. But Ying Wuxie protected his brain. No matter how Fang Yuan destroyed the other parts of his body, he chose to protect his brain. Undoubtedly, this was a smart choice. Because if he delayed, Fang Yuan would be dragged out of reverse flow river, then it would be time for Ying Wuxie to counterattack. Don't forget, there was still He Lulan, Bai Ningbing, and old ancestor Shui Hu. Among everyone present, only Fang Yuan was completely alone. This was a race against time. Fang Yuan wanted to kill Ying Wuxie and Zishan Makoto before they left Reverse Flow River. Meanwhile, Ying Wuxie was trying his best to stall for time. Chapter 1288. The main reason was, fighting in the water greatly affected Fang Yuan's attack continuity. Because he needed to swim to the surface of the river to breathe. In this aspect, Fang Yuan could not compare to the dead Mu Ling Lan. The latter was a water path Gu immortal. He had special water path Dao marks on him that allowed him to breathe underwater. In contrast, immortal zombies did not need to breathe. Because immortal zombies were dead people to begin with. Fang Yuan's attacks did not work. He suddenly changed his target to Zishan Makoto, who was in Ying Wuxie's arms. Ying Wuxie was worried about Zishan Makoto's safety. He quickly tried to save him. Fang Yuan suddenly changed his target, his fingers stabbing towards Ying Wuxie's eyes. This move was vicious and ruthless. As long as he stabbed, Fang Yuan would be able to stab into Ying Wuxie's head and take his life. Ying Wuxie's heart shook. He could not defend in time. He felt despair. But right at this time, a change occurred. Zishan Makoto suddenly came out, charging towards Fang Yuan's face. Fang Yuan had the initiative. He naturally had the strength to defend. He grabbed Zishan Makoto. At the same time, he tried to clench his fist and crush Zishan Makoto to death. But even though Zishan Makoto was a wisdom path Gu immortal, his wisdom path Dao marks were deep and unfathomable. Fang Yuan felt like he was grabbing a slippery eel. He actually managed to squeeze Zishan Makoto away. Zishan Makoto escaped from Fang Yuan's demonic claws. His body was extremely agile. He swam in the water. His wings increased his agility. Fang Yuan's following attacks missed. Then, Zishan Makoto flew to Ying Wuxie's side, grabbed his collar, and swam with all his might, unexpectedly shaking off Fang Yuan in an instant. Ying Wuxie was both surprised and overjoyed. He looked at Zishan Makoto and saw that his eyes were clear and bright. He immediately knew that at this critical moment of life and death, Zishan Makoto had regained his senses. Awesome! Ying Wuxie's heart leaped with joy. Now that Zishan Makoto had woken up, the two of them could completely regroup and capture Ma and Zhao alive. Let's go. Zishan Makoto carried Ying Wuxie and quickly left along the river. His body was small, but he possessed enormous power. Lordzi. Realization dawned on Ying Wuxie at once. Indeed, very soon, Zishan Makoto once again descended into a state of insanity. Sigh. Ying Wuxie sighed deeply. He now knew why Zishan Makoto had retreated. Because he was in an unstable state. Because of Zishan Makoto's interference, Fang Yuan could not get rid of Ying Wuxie. Moreover, he had fallen for a long distance. He was very far away from Ma and Zhao. Old ancestor Shui, who had an unhappy expression. With Ying Wuxie and Zishan Makoto's retreat, only 3 people were left in Reverse Flow River. They were Ma Hongyun, Zhao Lianyun, and Fang Yuan. Who is this person? He is a Northern Plains Gu immortal. He actually foiled my plans. Old ancestor Shui, who showed deep killing intent towards Fang Yuan. He Lulan was already standing beside old ancestor Shui, who, hearing his question, she had a thought. Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxie clearly had deep hatred. He had to answer now. He Lulan had already become a member of Shadow Sect. At this moment, she could not expose Fang Yuan's true identity. Thankfully, Fang Yuan had another identity, she answered. He is Liu Guanyi. Liu Guanyi? The demonic path Gu immortal who killed Yi Lui Kunxing and cultivated ancient sword dragon transformation? Old ancestor Shui, who was stunned before reacting. He knew about Liu Guanyi. Even though he was refining Gu in snowy mountain blessed land, he had been paying attention to Northern Plains situation. Because the rank 8 Gu immortals of Northern Plains were the obstacles to him refining fortune rivaling heaven immortal Gu. As for Liu Guanyi and Chu Du, old ancestor Shui, who did not care about them. But to think that a certain minor character who he did not care about would spoil his plans today, at this moment. Ha ha ha, luck is on our side after all. The dog-tail life extending ferret laughed loudly, its laughter reverberated in the surroundings. By Chen Tian and Wei Ling Yang had already gathered, Central Continent's GU immortals were waiting. It seemed that they chose to stay and wait for a chance. Old Ancestor Xue Hu, He Lulan, and Bai Ningbing stood together. All three sides were together, waiting for Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun to be eliminated. Fairy Lianyun, Ma Hongyun, you can come out now. Even if our Central Continent GU immortals sacrifice our lives, we will protect you. Wei Ling Yang said loudly. Laughable. Central Continent fellows actually want to snatch people from me? The dog-tail life-extending ferret, Maro Li Chiu, glared at them, feeling very displeased. Black Extremity was worried that Maro Li Chiu's ferocity would scare Ma Hongyun. He quickly tried to salvage the situation. Ma Hongyun, you obtained fortune rivaling Heaven Immortal Gu's recognition, you have Giant Sun's bloodline, you are a member of Longevity Heaven. Longevity Heaven is the source of our bloodline, Ancestor Giant Sun's Grotto Heaven. We're here to take you home. Old Ancestor Xue Hu snorted coldly, threatening Fang Yuan. Liu Guanyi, if you can capture Ma and Zhao, I will allow you to become the third peak lord of Snowy Mountain. I, Xue Hu, am a man of my words, you can rest assured. If you succeed, with my support, your future path of cultivation will be smooth. Hearing his words, the other GU immortals started to pay attention to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan lost the chance to kill Ying Wuxie. There was no other way. He had already tried his best. But the foundation of a rank 8, the advantage of a strength path immortal zombie in reverse flow river, and most importantly, Zishan Makoto's momentary clarity, all of these pushed him towards the abyss of failure. I failed. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. The situation was very dangerous for him. Among the 3 rank 8s outside the river, only Old Ancestor Xue Hu could rely on. But Old Ancestor Xue Hu had people from Shadow Sect beside him. If I leave Reverse Flow River, these 3 rank 8s can attack me. My speed cannot match Hui Fengzi, even with myriad self and familiar face, there is little hope of escaping from these 3 rank 8s. Fang Yuan was clear about his own strength. However, if I can capture Ma and Zhao, they will be the best bargaining chips. Central Continent and Longevity Heaven will be willing to trade for them, not to mention Old Ancestor Xue Hu, I might even be able to use him to eliminate Shadowsec. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan's gaze was fixed on Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. He swam up with all his might towards the 2 of them. Ma and Zhao saw Fang Yuan's movement, they were the only ones left in front of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's malicious intent was clear. Ma and Zhao could only grit their teeth and continue swimming forward. Persevere. I barely escaped from Snowy Mountain, I do not want to be captured again, and Lady Xiao Yun, she became like this because of me, I need to save her. Thus, I need to persevere. Ma Hongyun, you can do it, keep it up. Ma Hongyun gritted his teeth, swimming forward with all his might. Even though he was extremely tired, he had great motivation in his heart. Fang Yuan's speed was faster than Ma and Zhao. But earlier, when he fought with Ying Wuxie, he was pushed back by Reverse Flow River for a long time. Thus, Ma and Zhao were safe, unless something happened to them and they could not hold on anymore. Time gradually flowed by, and this peculiar competition had finally reached its final juncture. Outside the river, a large number of GU immortals watched the three's actions. At this time, Zhao Lianyun's expression changed. While she was swimming, her feet suddenly touched the ground. Next, she subconsciously stepped on the ground and stood up from Reverse Flow River, her head and shoulders were above the water. This change made her and Ma Hongyun happy and surprised. How can this be? Flood Extremity was shocked. The dog-tail life-extending ferret yawned, don't be so surprised. The upstream of Reverse Flow River gets shallower and shallower. Haven't you read the legends of Renzu? Back then, Renzu wanted to walk out of Reverse Flow River, but he failed at the final step. So that's it. Maro Li Chiu said loudly. The Central Continent GU Immortals also realized. Unknowingly, they are already at the upstream. Guys, look. They're only 100 steps away from the end of the upper reaches. Could it be that Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun can break the record and do something that even the Renzu couldn't do? Could it be that they can walk out of the Reverse Flow River? Not necessarily. Back then, Renzu started from the downstream. Ma and Zhao gained a lot of advantages. Even so, it is a grand feat. That's right, their willpower is truly shocking. The GU Immortals discussed this topic intensely. Even Maro Li Qiu winked. This means that this Ma Hongyun is really not bad. He can actually get out of reverse flow river. Hee. Flood Extremity and Black Extremity looked at each other. The former said proudly, as expected of the person chosen by fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU. Fang Yuan was still moving his limbs, trying to swim upstream, while Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were already walking in reverse flow river. Almost all of the GU Immortals were looking at Ma and Zhao. The Immortals wanted to know if these two could break the human record, in a sense, surpass Renzu and walk out of reverse flow river from the upstream. Step by step, step by step. Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun held on to each other. They were shakily moving forward. They were extremely tired, they were numb, but they persisted. With every step, their bodies would shake, like willow branches in the wind. If they fell down at the next moment, nobody would be surprised. But in this state, they continued to move forward. This scene shook the Immortals' hearts. What kind of willpower is this? Is this the power of love? The two of them supported each other. They went through thick and thin together. Regardless of the result, I am filled with admiration towards these two. The commotion outside the river gradually stopped. As Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun reached the end of the upstream, the Immortals held their breaths. Chapter 1289. Am I going to fail? Fang Yuan was still swimming. Seeing this, his heart felt heavy. No, as long as it is not the last moment, I will still have a chance. I cannot give up. The last step. Bai Chen Tian shouted. The Immortals did not even breathe loudly. All of them became nervous. Their eyes widened. They wanted to witness this grand moment. Grandpa Mao, get ready. When Ma Hongyun comes out, we will snatch him. Black Extremity transmitted, reminding the dog-tail life-extending ferret. But the latter transmitted, no need to snatch. Grandpa Mao, what do you mean? Black Extremity was anxious. At this time, Ma Hongyun pulled Zhao Lianyun's hand, finally taking the last step. His left foot was still in the reverse flow river, and the water couldn't even cover his left foot. His right foot was already in the air, about to step out of the river. At this time, no one could stop Ma Hongyun, unless Zhao Lianyun went crazy, or Ma Hongyun himself gave up. But neither of those things happened. Ma Hongyun took a step. Splat. A soft sound, water splashed. He stepped into the water. Why is there water? Ma Hongyun dazed, Zhao Lianyun was also dazed. They could clearly see that the moment Ma Hongyun took the last step, the water level of the reverse current river had risen a little. So, Ma Hongyun was still in reverse flow river. Why is this happening? Ma Hongyun did not believe it. Gritting his teeth, he took the second step. At this time, the same thing happened again. Reverse flow river rose a little again. He was still in the river. The Immortals were in an uproar. Why was reverse flow river like this? Isn't this a little too shameless? Ha ha ha. Maro Li Qiu suddenly laughed deafeningly. This is too fun, too fun. Look at your expressions. Ha ha ha. This is really interesting. Ha ha ha. The Immortals' expressions changed. Black Extremity combined Maro Li Qiu's words. He immediately understood. Maro Li Qiu already knew that Ma Hongyun could not step out of reverse flow river. That was why it was so calm and did not try to snatch him. Grandpa Mao, what is going on? Flood Extremity became impatient, asking curiously. Ha ha ha, you bunch of fools, look at yourselves. Maro Li Qiu laughed until its claws slapped the ground, creating loud bangs. It was extremely happy. This is what the reverse flow river looks like. There is an upstream and a downstream, but it is impossible to forcefully walk out of the upstream from the downstream. There was no end to the reverse flow river. With every step you take in the upper reaches, it will overtake you. During the immemorial antiquity era, Renzu wanted to save his eldest son, but that was fate Gu, it dictates the life and death of all living beings. How could a dead person have a second life? This goes against the great Tao of heaven and earth, thus wisdom Gu did not tell Renzu about this mystical ability of reverse flow river. Ha ha ha, this is so fun. I didn't expect to encounter such a fun thing this time. At the end, Maro Li Chiu started laughing maniacally again. It even rolled around on the ground, holding its belly in laughter. The immortal's expressions completely changed. This was a primordial secret. This was the first time the GU immortals present had heard of it. This means, according to the legends, wasn't Wisdom GU the one who harmed Renzu? Renzu failed at the final step, but the truth is, there will never be a final step. Because reverse flow river itself has no end. This is a scheme. This is Wisdom Gu's trap. Wait, if that is the case, wouldn't Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun be trapped in reverse flow river forever? Someone said, reminding everyone of the situation. The immortals quickly looked at reverse flow river. But this time, they did not pay attention to Ma and Zhao. Instead, they looked at Fang Yuan, who was not far behind them. Fang Yuan. He did not give up. The result of his perseverance was a huge turning point. This Liu Guanyi did not get swept away. He is still persevering. He is not far from Ma and Zhao. This means, with his speed, won't he be able to catch Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun soon? Liu Guanyi has great battle strength. The battle earlier proved it. In the reverse flow river, he fought Lord Bai Chen Tian to a draw. The other GU immortals were all eliminated. Only Fang Yuan, Ma Hongyun, and Zhao Lianyun were left. Now, even if the GU immortals outside the river wanted to regroup and swim upstream, they did not have the time. Most importantly, they were all eliminated. Their thoughts of swimming upstream were destroyed. They could not muster up the courage to swim in reverse flow river for the time being. Oh no, the only hope now is that Liu Guanyi runs out of energy. Bai Chen Tian thought of this as cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He suddenly reminded Ma and Zhao, walk slowly, don't be anxious, as long as you keep moving forward, you can stay in reverse flow river. Bai Chen Tian had fought with Fang Yuan before. He was very clear about Fang Yuan's shocking battle strength in reverse flow river. This could be seen from his injuries after leaving reverse flow river. He had Zishan Makoto's help, and was an immortal zombie. He was only a step away from death. Thus, with Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun's loyalty to Central Continent, they had to avoid interacting with Fang Yuan. They had to stall for time until Fang Yuan could not hold on anymore. This was Central Continent's only chance of victory. But Fang Yuan was still the same. He was not fast, but compared to Ma and Zhao, who were as slow as turtles, he was extremely fast. Not long after, he landed on the ground. He was less than 100 steps away from Ma and Zhao. Old Ancestor Shui who suddenly spoke. Good, Liu Guanyi, capture Ma and Zhao. If you have any requests, you can tell me. You are wanted by Liu tribe and Yi Lui tribe, but as long as you hand these two to me, I will be your ally. From now on, whoever dares to deal with you will be dealing with me. Wei Lingyang was shocked. He also spoke. Liu Guanyi, we are Central Continent's 10 great sects, and members of Celestial Court. If you can protect Ma and Zhao, even if you go to Central Continent, we have ways to modify your immortal aperture and let you adapt to Central Continent's heaven and earth chi. You will become a true Central Continent GU immortal. If you make a huge contribution, Central Continent will not mistreat you. Old Ancestor Shui who will give you several times, or even 10 times the reward. Liu Guanyi, even though you do not have the Huangjin bloodline, as long as you make up for your mistakes and protect Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, hand them over to Longevity Heaven. My Longevity Heaven can make an exception and take you in as an external Supreme Elder. If you enter Longevity Heaven, you will receive unimaginable benefits. You will be a member of Northern Plains' righteous path, not a demonic path. Not only will you not be wanted, you will even be welcomed by all of Northern Plains' Huangjin tribes. Flood Extremity also spoke. Chapter 1290. This situation was quite amusing. The three parties simultaneously tried to recruit Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's position was too advantageous. If he succeeded in the river, he would have a huge advantage no matter which party he joined. But Fang Yuan did not respond. He was too tired to speak. He stood on the riverbed and straightened his body, walking forward. He knew that nothing he said would change anything. Only by capturing Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun would he have the right to negotiate with the three parties outside the river. The distance between them was shrinking bit by bit. The immortals outside the reverse flow river watched Fang Yuan's every move. People kept raising their offers. There was a strange phenomenon. No one threatened Fang Yuan. Everyone knew that Fang Yuan was Liu Guan's identity on the surface. This Liu Guan had killed even Yelu Kunxing. He had outstanding strength and had taken the initiative to attack, greatly offending the Liu family. It was clear that he was vicious and lawless. Threatening such a murderer would only produce the opposite of the desired result. I want to live, I want to be with Hongyun forever, Zhao Lianyun cried, wailing in her heart. She walked forward step by step with difficulty, each step was an inch at a time. I'm here, I'm right here. Don't be afraid, Xiaoyun, I'll protect you. Ma Hongyun's face was as pale as a sheet. He held on to Zhao Lianyun's arm, his vision darkening. With every step he took, he felt a strong dizziness, making him wonder if he would collapse the next moment. Where are you two going? Fang Yuan's voice came from behind Ma Hongyun. Ma and Zhao Lianyun trembled and turned around. Fang Yuan's hands were already on Ma Hongyun's and Zhao Lianyun's shoulders. At this moment, Ma Hongyun raised his head and roared. He pushed Zhao Lianyun and slammed into Fang Yuan. No. But how could Fang Yuan let Ma Hongyun have his way? His failure to deal with Ying Wuxie and Zishan Makoto had already made Fang Yuan quite angry. Dealing with Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, a mortal and a false immortal, was naturally a piece of cake for him. After a series of moves that dazzled Ma Hongyun's eyes, the two of them were subdued by Fang Yuan with one hand each. One on each side, they were clamped under Fang Yuan's armpits, unable to move. Ma and Zhao came to their senses and naturally struggled with all their might. But at this time, Fang Yuan's extremely cold voice rang out, "If you move again, I will kill the person you love the most." Immediately, Ma and Zhao froze, looking at Fang Yuan with an incomparably terrified expression. Fang Yuan's words immediately grasped the weakness of these two people. Fang Yuan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and continued forward with a captive in each hand. In this dangerous situation, at this moment, Fang Yuan forcefully found a chance of survival. He looked at the sky outside the river and said loudly to the three sides, "Now we can have a good talk. Ha ha ha, kid, you are not bad. With my demeanor in the past, everything can be discussed." Old ancestor Shui who laughed loudly. "Don't be rash, Central Continent can satisfy all your conditions." Wei Ling Yang followed. Boring. Maro Li Chiu curled its lips and lay on the ground, wagging its tail leisurely. Black Extremity laughed bitterly. "Liu Guanyi, what do you want? Just say it, At this time, a sudden change occurred. Ma Hongyun suddenly stopped breathing. He died. The immortals were shocked. There was dead silence. For a moment, even Fang Yuan was stunned. "I clearly didn't use any strength." No, Ma Hongyun died from exhaustion. He held Zhao Lianyun and moved forward, unrestrainedly squeezing out his essence, qi, and spirit, surpassing his limits again and again. In the end, not only was his physical strength exhausted, even his spirit was exhausted. After being clamped by me, the moment his body relaxed, he instantly died. Fang Yuan quickly understood. This sudden change caught him off guard. Ma Hongyun died. The immortals gasped. "Damn it. Liu Guanyi, you actually killed him. I will pull out your tendons and skin you alive. You will die a horrible death." Old ancestor Shui who was furious, he roared at the sky with bloodshot eyes. Once Ma Hongyun died, his fortune rivaling heaven dissipated. That was to say, only a living Ma Hongyun had huge value as an immortal material. A dead Ma Hongyun was merely a rank 5 GU master. This was also why Lady Wn Shou had been trying to refine Ma Hongyun alive, and not kill him first before slowly refining him. Like the spring dream fruit tree, Luck Path immortal materials had their own special characteristics. If it was a living Luck Path immortal material, it had to be kept alive. When refining Luck Path immortal GU, the living refinement method was needed. Ma Hongyun. By Chen Tian, Wei Ling Yang, and the rest were dejected. Little worm, you actually clamped Ma Hongyun to death, you clamped him to death. Maro Li Chio's voice was even louder than old ancestor Xuehu's. It had a ruthless expression as it bared its sharp teeth. It was furious and its fur was bristling. It wanted to pounce on Fang Yuan and eat him alive. Ma Hongyun died just like that. Don't worry, I still have Zhao Lianyun. Fang Yuan suppressed the shock in his heart. Zhao Lianyun's face was covered in tears. Hongyun. Hongyun. The person she loved the most had died in front of her eyes. The unparalleled pain and sorrow were like a tsunami that swallowed her whole. But she could not scream, she could not shout, she could not make a sound. She could only scream and scream in her heart. It was not easy, she had gone through so much trouble to reach this step. She had just met Ma Hongyun not long ago, but they were separated forever. What could Zhao Lianyun do now? Her tears flowed down, the sorrow was etched into her heart, the pain was heavier than death by 1,000 cuts, her body was shaking intensely. Oh no! Fang Yuan quickly attacked, wanting to knock Zhao Lianyun unconscious. This was to prevent Zhao Lianyun from dying from excessive sorrow. However, just as Fang Yuan's hand was about to land on Zhao Lianyun's neck, a blue light shone from Zhao Lianyun's body. Rank 9 Love Immortal GU. At the crucial moment, it displayed its power again. This aura, Rank 9 Love? Wait, didn't they say that GU worms cannot be used in reverse flow river? Flood Extremity shouted. Maro Li Chio rolled its eyes. Are you stupid? How can there be absolutes in this world? Reverse flow river is a secluded domain of heaven and earth. Because it is filled with wondrous Tao marks, GU worms cannot be used. But rank 9 immortal GU are not Tao marks, they are fragments of the great Tao. Reverse flow river's Tao marks cannot suppress them. The immortal GU will show off. Save him, even if I have to sacrifice my life. Zhao Lianyun was overjoyed, he shouted in his mind. But Love Immortal GU could not be controlled. The blue light brought Zhao Lianyun to the sky, he escaped from Reverse Flow River. Next, he went to buy Chen Tian and Wei Lingyang. He was so fast that the others could not react in time. Ma Hongyun's corpse was left behind. Fang Yuan held it tightly in his hands. Even though Ma Hongyun was dead, his soul was still in his body. But old ancestor Xue who had already lost interest in this corpse. If reviving Ma Hongyun had any use, Lady Wn Shou would not have to use such a difficult live refinement method. Maro Li Chio stared at Fang Yuan with hostility, baring its fangs. Fang Yuan had just grasped the opportunity, but who could have expected the situation to change, causing Fang Yuan to fall into an even more dangerous situation than before. Such an accident, it must be the work of providence. At once, Fang Yuan realized. He fell into Reverse Flow River, all his immortal GU were useless, so much time had passed, Providence's arrangements showed their power. First, he was swept into Reverse Flow River, then Zishan Makoto, Ying Wuxie, and finally, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. Providence. Fang Yuan raised his head. At this moment, he was surrounded by enemies. Not only did old ancestor Xuehu, Maro Li Chio, and Central Continent's GU immortals want to kill him to vent their anger, Providence was also everywhere, trying to get rid of him, the biggest variable in the whirl. Desperate situation. Then, what should I do? Fang Yuan's mouth was dry. But from start to finish, he was expressionless. He could not think of a way. Just old ancestor Xue who alone was an opponent that Fang Yuan could not match. That huge sable was unfathomable, it had a huge origin, it was giant sun immortals' mount in the pass. Not to mention the other GU immortals. Fang Yuan could not think of a way, he could only continue to move in Reverse Flow River. He could hear the shouts and screams of the GU immortals. Liu Guanyi, you will not escape death today. You have done too many evil deeds, in the end, your evil deeds brought about your own destruction, you ended up in this state, heaven is truly fair. Kill him, we need to kill him, he dared to ruin our plans. Do you know that you've killed someone you absolutely cannot touch? Today, you will die for sure. Roar. The dog-tail life-extending ferret roared at the sky, creating endless sound waves. If not for Reverse Flow River blocking it, it would have attacked Fang Yuan already. Is there no other way? Reverse Flow River will wash me away, with my current methods, There is little hope of escaping. Fang Yuan was very troubled. He could only continue moving in reverse flow river. Step by step. He was already at the front. With every step he took, reverse flow river would flow forward a step. Fang Yuan was always inside the river. Reverse flow river had no end. This was a form of despair. But Fang Yuan did not care. In my life, I have experienced too much despair. Fang Yuan sighed internally. His gaze was still clear, he was still expressionless. Based on the current situation, it seems like I can only wait for the three sides to fight each other before I can take the opportunity to leave. Then I can only persevere in this river. Fang Yuan pondered. Step by step. As time passed, the GU immortals who could not wait for Fang Yuan to be washed away started to get impatient. Is he done yet? What's the point of walking in the reverse flow river? You're going to die anyway. Come out, you coward. I will slap you to death. You have no hope left, Liu Guanyi. Even if you die, you will still have some pride. Some of the GU immortals snickered, some watched coldly. Chapter 1291. If you think that you will wait for us to fight and find a chance to escape, then give up on that idea. I, Xuehu, only have you as my target today. Do you know how much I paid to refine fortune rivaling heaven GU? You ruined my cultivation plan. You are the person I hate the most in my life. If I do not kill you, I will not be able to vent my hatred. Old ancestor Xuehu looked at Fang Yuan eerily. His words were like cold water that poured on Fang Yuan's heart. But Fang Yuan was still expressionless. He was like a rock, a deaf and mute person made of iron. No words, be it threats or enticements, had any effect. Time passed. Fang Yuan continued to move forward. Unknowingly, the dog-tail life-extending ferret Maro Li Chou's growls became weaker. The expression on the enormous violet mink's face changed. It spoke with a strange and incredulous tone as it looked at Fang Yuan, muttering, it can't be what? Black Extremity felt strange. At this moment, old ancestor Xuehu, Bai Chen Tian, and Wei Lingyang's expressions also changed slightly. They sensed something too. Soon, the other GU immortals were also moved. They gasped in shock. Oh, this is the aura of a GU worm. But it seems to be the same. What GU worm? Impossible. Does he have a rank 9 immortal GU as well? Something is wrong. This is not the aura of an immortal GU, or rather, it is incomplete, so strange. Suddenly, Yu Yizi's eyes shined. He guessed the truth, he said. This situation, he is refining GU. A GU immortal scoffed. How can this be? Refining GU in reverse flow river? Indeed. GU worms could not be used in reverse flow river, unless they were rank 9 immortal GU. Even though Fang Yuan had wisdom GU, he was in Lang Ya blessed land, he could not use any GU worms, let alone refine GU. Fang Yuan also sensed the mystical changes in his body. He was expressionless but his heart was shaking. It seems, he is really refining GU? What is going on? Every time I move forward, the aura in my body gets stronger. What happened? Although Fang Yuan didn't know the specifics, he understood that this seemed to be his turning point. The situation was already terrible. No matter what, Fang Yuan was willing to continue trying. He walked on. One step after another. His steps were steady and his face was expressionless, but he gave off a strong feeling. Why is he expressionless? A GU immortal suddenly asked. The immortals finally reacted. That was right. Other than Fang Yuan, everyone else had either twisted expressions on their faces, or were in extreme pain. They were either mad or weeping. Why was Fang Yuan so expressionless? The immortals were silent. They all knew that the person who asked this question actually wanted to ask another question. That is, why can this Liu Guanyi last so long? Moreover, he seems to be able to persevere for even longer, or even forever. How was this possible? Everyone was eliminated, washed out by the reverse flow river. Why was he still here? Why did he look like he still had some strength left? Why was it him? Why him? No one could answer this question. The GU immortals were silent. A moment later, As Fang Yuan continued to move forward, the aura of the GU worms in his body continued to grow. It had reached a limit. Soon, Fang Yuan's body started to emit a pure white light from inside out. To think that it really developed to this state. Maro Li Qiu saw this and stared with wide-opened eyes. It was tongue-tied, unable to believe this scene. Grandpa Maro, what is going on? Black Extremity could not help but ask. Sigh. At this point, it doesn't matter even if I say it. Maro Li Qiu sighed deeply, showing a deep sense of defeat on its face. An immortal GU is being created in his body. This immortal GU is called Perseverance. Maro Li Qiu said something shocking. Perseverance immortal GU? Black Extremity was shocked. The other GU immortals were not any better. The legends of Renzu mentioned that Perseverance immortal GU is the key to conquering Reverse Flow River. Didn't it not exist? Yu Yi Yizi asked. No, it exists. Bai Chen Tian said. He was a GU immortal of Celestial Court. He knew many secrets. And someone had once controlled it. That person was the Lord of Celestial Court, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. Wei Ling Yang added. What? Everyone was shocked again. But Perseverance Immortal Gu's refinement method, we did not expect it to be like this. Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable did not reveal it either. Bai Chen Tian shook his head and sighed. Of course he did not want to reveal it. Because this is a scandal in his life. He. Maro Li Qiu interjected. It seemed to be interested in anything that affected the reputation of Celestial Court. These words caused Shi Zhengyi to shout, Nonsense, how dare you slander the name of an immortal venerable? To be able to challenge a legendary immemorial desolate beast, Shi Zhengyi's courage was praiseworthy. Many Central Continent GU immortals were worried for him. Maro Li Qiu was not angry. Kid, what do you know? Immortal venerables and demon venerables have high cultivation level, but they are humans. Humans have emotions, they have flaws and weaknesses. Back then, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable charged into Reverse Flow River and was trapped inside, unable to escape. In the end, he stayed at the top for a long time and refined Perseverance Immortal GU in his body. From then on, he conquered Reverse Flow River, becoming the first owner of Reverse Flow River in history. Reverse Flow River's first owner? Even old ancestor Shuer, who showed a shocked expression. This Reverse Flow River had been in his hands for a long time. To think that there was such a secret. In that case. At once, the immortals' gazes turned to Fang Yuan. Maro Li Qiu sighed, looking at Fang Yuan, who was bathed in white light with a deep gaze, saying helplessly, That's right. At this rate, he is going to refine Perseverance Immortal GU and become the second owner of Reverse Flow River. The immortals were speechless. They watched as Fang Yuan walked forward step by step. He was expressionless. No matter how many steps he took, Reverse Flow River would always flow below his feet. It was like the greatest mockery of fate. But he continued to walk. He had walked from the 500 years of his previous life. He did not know how long it would take. But he knew where he wanted to go. It seemed, no one could stop him. At the very least, there was no one who could stand in his way. 500 years in his previous life. Fang Yuan leaned on the bamboo building, looking at the village and Qing Maro Mountain behind him. He clenched his fists, his young face was filled with hope. It is time to give up on the past. It is my good fortune to be able to transmigrate here. Because I can achieve longevity here. I need to make use of this rare opportunity. Otherwise, how can I face myself and this opportunity? Of course, right now, I need to improve my brothers and my living environment. That kid. After awakening. On the battle stage, Fang Yuan lowered his head with a furious expression. I was plotted against. Who plotted against me? They did not want me to defeat my opponent. The answer is obvious. Brother, give up, you are not my match. Because of our different talents, we are destined to be different. Guyue Fangjing said happily. Fang Yuan turned around and left, his eyes filled with determination. Since the village does not nurture me, and uncle and aunt are purposely pushing me away, what's the point of me staying here? Could it be that I can become stronger and achieve immortality here? Why don't I leave? In the caravan. The bearded Jiu master was dead. Fang Yuan stood in front of his grave. The young man's eyes were filled with tears, choking, "Uncle Bearded, rest in peace. Thank you for the gift before you left. You said, when you were young, you wanted to be a person of indomitable spirit, like those legendary figures of the righteous path. When you were young, you felt that becoming a clan leader was not bad. When you were young, becoming a clan elder was already a great feeling. When you were middle-aged, you were exiled by the clan, and found that as long as you could support yourself and raise the Jiu worms on your body, you would be satisfied. I will not let my dreams wither with age like this. This world is too big, and we are all small characters, but I will do my best. I will always work hard. Childhood, youth, youth. Ching Maro Mountain, the caravan, they traveled. Middle age, old age, they obtained lifespan Jiu. Southern border, western desert, eastern sea, central continent. After spring-autumn cicadas rebirth, Ching Maro Mountain, Three Kings Mountain, Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Imperial Court Blessed Land, Yi Tian Mountain, Reverse Flow River. They traveled step by step, through wind and rain. Bai Chen Tian frowned, he stared at Fang Yuan's figure, thinking, what kind of willpower is this? Why is he so persistent? What is it that makes him so persistent? Old ancestor Shui who snorted coldly, a solemn light flashed in his eyes. He no longer had the disdain he had towards ordinary rank 7 Jiu immortals. That means to say, 300,000 years ago, there was Genesis Lotus, 300,000 years later, there is Liu Guanyi. Reverse Flow River Lord. Maro Li Chiu looked at the bright light on Fang Yuan's body. It was helpless, it gritted its teeth and scratched the ground with its claws, creating deep marks. Bai Ningbing and Hei Lolan's eyelids twitched, they were deeply moved. Zhao Lianyun woke up slowly, she looked at Ma Hongyun's corpse, which was held by Fang Yuan's other arm, tears flowed out of her eyes. She cried in her heart, Hongyun, Hongyun, how can you leave me? Without you, I am alone in this world. What is the point of me living? Do you know? How hard is it for a person to persevere alone? How hard is it for a person to persevere alone? All the Jiu immortals present could answer this question. Because among them, some persevered because of responsibility, some persevered because of hatred, some persevered because of excitement, some persevered because of love, and Fang Yuan's answer? He was still expressionless, he continued to move forward without moving. I once screamed, but gradually, I could no longer make a sound. I once cried, but gradually, I stopped crying. I once felt sorrow, but gradually, I could endure everything. I once felt joy, but gradually, I became indifferent to the world. And now, I am only expressionless below, my gaze is firm like a rock, I only have perseverance left in my heart. This is me, a minor character, Fang Yuan's perseverance. The light shined brightly, it could not be looked at directly. Chapter 1292. I have revised this chapter many times, I did not hesitate to cut out many of the existing drafts, and in the end, I almost wrote it from scratch. In the end, I finally wrote some of the feelings in my heart. Without a doubt, the main idea of this plot is persistence. The legends of Renzu, as always, played a key role. A few days ago, readers who subscribed to the original version of this book might have seen some bad reviews from new readers when they were browsing Chijian's book review section. Actually, these are already considered good. Slander, abuse, curses that involve family members, reports time and time again. I started writing this book 4 or 5 years ago, and I've experienced this kind of thing too many to count. One of them is that an author who can write such a main character must also be a pervert. This point of view is too funny, and also a little sad. According to this logic, an author who writes small white novels is naturally a small white. An author who writes dark novels is naturally dark. Mr. Li Zhongwu who writes thick black novels is thick black? Then, I have written many stallion novels before, am I a stallion? Many people do not understand Fang Yuan, just like how they do not understand the original intention of writing this book. Fang Yuan has never let his dreams shrink. I have never forgotten the original intention of writing this book, which is to write about a villain. I know that most people are used to seeing decent, because it is easy, and there is no moral pressure. However, real life is never easy, and is mostly cold and cruel. So, I suggest many readers to read the preface of this book before reading it. I want to write about a villain, and to write about a villain, it is impossible to not write about cruelty and coldness. Many readers do not like Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. I understand you, sincerely. But to me, I love the main character Fang Yuan, and also the supporting characters, such as Bai Ningbing, Ma Hongyun, He Lulan, Ying Wuxia, etc. Because in them, they have their own will, their own brilliance, their own opportunities, and their own thoughts. They are living people, and they allude to some aspects of our real life. There will always be people who need to work hard, there will always be people who are especially lucky, and can reap benefits without putting in any effort. There will always be people who have a high starting point, there will always be people who are attractive and lovable. Society is like this, and the novel I write is to create a world, and it should be like this, to include these things. I, on the other hand, tend to believe in personal effort and the realization of personal self-worth. Therefore, the protagonist was Fang Yuan. I know that most of my readers are also inclined towards personal efforts and the realization of self-worth, so they love the character of Fang Yuan. Ma Hongyun's death seemed funny, but I thought it was inevitable. Tonight, Weibo News will do a special topic on Ma Hongyun, explaining and analyzing this character. I think that everyone living in this world should have a tolerant heart. We love the character of Fang Yuan, so why don't we take a look at the highlights of other characters? Just like in real life, there will always be people around us that we hate. But if we look at them from a different angle, we might be able to find something special about them. People with such foresight are blessed. Because he or she will be broad-minded and will not easily make oneself unhappy because of the external appearance. Wasn't it a beautiful thing to be able to live happily? More importantly, these people were open-minded and would not let their prejudices hinder their own understanding. If they looked at it this way, they would also discover some very interesting things in life. As for the book reviews from a few days ago, they could stand at a height and overlook these things. Thank you for your support. Fang Yuan has been persevering. I, the author, have also been persevering and have never given up. Once again, thank you for your continued support. Please subscribe to the original version. Such support can never be too much. Thank you, everyone. Chapter 1293. Perseverance Immortal GU was finally refined at this moment. Outside Reverse Flow River, the Immortals witnessed this as they fell into silence. They saw that Reverse Flow River's water was rippling as it flowed slowly. A rank 7 GU Immortal with a young appearance, he wore a white robe, his hair was long like a waterfall, his eyes were deep as he stood in the water, his body was like the wind. He really refined Perseverance Immortal GU. Bai Ningbing muttered with a complex expression. He did the same thing as Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. The Central Continent GU Immortals were still in disbelief. Look, he is no longer moving forward, he is standing on the spot, but Reverse Flow River is not washing him away. Shi Zhengyi pointed and said loudly. Fang Yuan shut his eyes, half of his attention was placed in his immortal aperture. A brand new immortal GU had formed completely, appearing in his immortal aperture. Perseverance Immortal GU. It was shaped like a stone tablet, it was huge, it was the size of a whale. It was wide at the bottom and narrow at the top, it was squarish and black in color, the edges were sharp and straight. Looking at it, one would think that it was a reef that would not fall for 10,000 years, or a rock that would not melt in lava. It was a very special immortal GU. In terms of size, it was the largest immortal GU that Fang Yuan had ever obtained. Rank 7 Immortal GU, Fang Yuan could clearly sense the rank of this immortal GU from the aura that Perseverance Immortal GU was emitting. It was neither rank 8 nor rank 9. Fang Yuan was happy about this. The higher the rank of an immortal GU, the better it was, there was no need to explain this, every GU immortal knew this. Rank 7 Perseverance Immortal GU was very compatible with Fang Yuan's rank 7 cultivation level. What does this Perseverance Immortal GU feed? What effect does it have? How can I increase its usage? All sorts of questions appeared in Fang Yuan's mind. He did not think about it, he focused his attention on the outside. Outside Reverse Flow River, the 3 rank 8 existences were still eyeing him. The other GU immortals were also emitting malicious intent towards Fang Yuan. With Perseverance Immortal GU, I actually conquered Reverse Flow River. Fang Yuan soon realized that Reverse Flow River was like a docile kitten or puppy beside him. The immense pressure that he felt before had completely vanished. Fang Yuan didn't move. The Reverse Flow River had no effect on him. Not just that, Fang Yuan also found that he could use any GU worms in the river. He could even freely open his Immortal Aperture's entrance. All right. Fang Yuan was excited. He immediately stuffed Ma Hongyun's corpse into his Immortal Aperture. Ma Hongyun's soul also entered Fang Yuan's Immortal Aperture. His soul possessed the luck path true inheritance of all living beings. This was something that Fang Yuan had always remembered. Back in Imperial Court Blessed Land, Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun were both protected by the All Beings' Fate True Inheritance, and each of them obtained a portion of the True Inheritance's contents. Now that Ma Hongyun's soul has fallen into my hands, the portion of the Fate of All Beings' True Inheritance that he possesses is naturally mine. It is a pity that Zhao Lianyun had rank 9 Love Immortal GU, I could not capture her. To Fang Yuan, Ma Hongyun's soul had a lot of value. But his body, even though it was not mortal and had been refined many times, it could only be used as a GU material. Fang Yuan frowned slightly. If he could capture Zhao Lianyun, he might be able to use her to negotiate with the GU immortals outside. But earlier, because of Love Immortal Goose power, Zhao Lianyun escaped from danger and returned to Bai Chen Tian and Wei Lingyang's side. Northern Plains Liu Guanyi, to think that this battle would make you famous. Wei Lingyang sighed. I want you to die, I want you to die. Zhao Lianyun screamed in a sharp voice. Her gaze towards Fang Yuan was filled with hatred and resentment. She loved Ma Hongyun, but now, she hated Fang Yuan even more. Liu Guanyi, even if you become the Reverse Flow River Lord, so what? Old ancestor Shuehu sneered. Rascal, you are quite capable. But this is as far as you can go. You killed Ma Hongyun and caused me to fail before I could do anything. If you walk out of Reverse Flow River obediently, I will kill you with one slap. I will give you a quick death. Roar. The dog-tail life-extending ferret's eyes shined with a fierce light. Damn it. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. He was the only person in Reverse Flow River now, but the situation was not turning for the better for him. It was like he was trapped in the Reverse Flow River. Even though he refined Perseverance Immortal GU and conquered Reverse Flow River, he could not take the initiative and leave. Especially after losing Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun, Fang Yuan was in an extremely passive state. 3 rank 8 existences, many GU immortal experts, and Providence is vast and mighty. Fang Yuan looked around and found himself surrounded. His success in refining Perseverance Immortal GU was too eye-catching, he became the target of everyone. Ha! Old ancestor Shuehu suddenly opened his mouth and shouted, spitting out an icy cold wave. The cold wave quickly struck Reverse Flow River Mountain. Reverse Flow River flowed rapidly, the river surface shined as the cold wave was reflected back. Old ancestor Shuehu dodged it, staring at the river as he sneered, Liu Guanyi, you ruined my plans, surrender now and hand over Reverse Flow River, I can spare your life and make you my servant. But if you insist on going your own way and still want to resist stubbornly, I guarantee that you will suffer a fate worse than death. Saying so, he continued to spit out cold waves at Reverse Flow River. Reverse Flow River continued to reflect the attacks, but old ancestor Shuehu dodged them all. He continued to threaten, Liu Guanyi, if you think that Reverse Flow River can protect you, you are wrong. Even though Reverse Flow River is a secluded domain of heaven and earth, it has great power, it is a dead object, it will expend energy when it reflects the attacks back. Over time, there will be a day when the river will run dry. When that time comes, it will be your death. As old ancestor Shuehu attacked, Reverse Flow River started to expend energy, even though it was only a small amount. At this rate, it would be used up eventually. Fang Yuan retorted loudly, old ancestor Shuehu, you are the number 1 rank 8 in Northern Plains, The ones who ruined your GU refinement plan were Central Continent's GU immortals. Furthermore, there might have been an ambush by Longevity Heaven. I just happened to be at the right time and appeared here by chance. You did not deal with these true enemies, you chose to deal with a minor character like me. Once he said this, Bai Chen Tian and Wei Lingyang became vigilant, they retreated slightly. Maro Li Qiu grinned, rascal, you are really good at sowing discord. Old Ancestor Shui, who was slightly dazed, Liu Guanyi, you seem to have forgotten, this reverse flow river below you belongs to me. You stole my secluded domain of heaven and earth, you are my mortal enemy. You even caused Ma Hongyun's death, completely destroying my hopes. If I do not kill you, I will not be able to vent my hatred. Fang Yuan quickly said, Old Ancestor Shui Hu, we are all Northern Plains GU immortals. Among them, this large sable is from Longevity Heaven. These Central Continent GU immortals are from the 10 great ancient sects or celestial court. They are all righteous path cultivators, only we are of the demonic path. Righteous and demonic path cannot coexist, we can cooperate. Yes, I seized Reverse Flow River and became the Reverse Flow River Lord by luck. But as long as we cooperate, I can lend Reverse Flow River to you. With me, Reverse Flow River will be much more useful to you than before. I did kill Ma Hongyun, but everyone knows that I did not do it on purpose. I only used my fingers lightly and Ma Hongyun died. He was overworked and exhausted, or maybe he received too much shock, he could not take it anymore. Without me, he would have died, I was just an innocent bystander. Now that he is dead, fortune rivaling heaven's effect is gone, I can understand why you want to take revenge on me. But you want to undergo tribulation, even if you kill me to vent your anger, can I help you? Saying so, Fang Yuan shook his head, continuing, not only can I not, it will also be detrimental to Old Ancestor Shui Hu's tribulation. Because Reverse Flow River is so vast, even if you expend all of it, you will not be able to refine fortune rivaling Heaven GU to help you pass tribulation. Old Ancestor Shui Hu, you have a family, you are a formidable overlord, you are the #1 overlord of Northern Plains demonic path. If you die in the tribulation, even if you are heavily injured, it will make Northern Plains and Central Continent's righteous path enemies happy. At the same time, it will make Lady Wan Shou sad. Even though Snowy Mountain Blessed Land is destroyed and the GU refinement failed, as long as you, Old Ancestor Shui Hu, are here, we can rebuild a second Snowy Mountain Blessed Land. If the GU refinement fails, we can loot and obtain the GU materials to refine again. These righteous path GU immortals have bad intentions, we can make use of them. I, Liu Guanyi, am of Northern Plains demonic path, I am willing to work with you to create a great cause. Fang Yuan's words were smooth and eloquent, he had a glib tongue. Old Ancestor Shui Hu heard these words and felt that Fang Yuan was not so hateful anymore. Because Fang Yuan's words were reasonable, even though Old Ancestor Shui Hu was furious and hateful, he did not lose his rationality. Moreover, Fang Yuan was standing on his side, thinking for him and making plans. How could Old Ancestor Shui Hu not be moved? He was a rank 8 GU immortal. Even after this huge setback, he did not lose his ambition. If he was going to refine GU in the future, where would the GU materials come from? Old Ancestor Shui Hu subconsciously looked at Bai Chen Tian, Wei Lingyang, and the dogtail life-extending ferret. Seeing Old Ancestor Shui Hu's gaze, Wei Lingyang and Bai Chen Tian could not help but feel nervous. Maro Li Qiu felt offended, its fur bristled as it opened its mouth, revealing its terrifying sharp fangs, showing no weakness towards Old Ancestor Shui Hu. This guy is still as crafty as ever. Ying Wuxie was furious. If it were in the past, he might have persuaded Old Ancestor Shui Hu to cooperate with Fang Yuan. After all, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body was the result of Shadow Sect's painstaking efforts for 100,000 years, it could not be lost. But now that Ying Wuxie was chased by Fang Yuan and saw Fang Yuan conquer Reverse Flow River, his wariness towards Fang Yuan had reached an extreme level. If there was a chance, Ying Wuxie would definitely deal a fatal blow to Fang Yuan and kill this terrifying enemy, but Ying Wuxie did not say anything. Zishan Makoto, who was in his arms, had already fallen into a deep sleep. When Zishan Makoto wakes up, he will have a period of clarity. Right now, the most important thing for Ying Wuxie was to keep a low profile. It would be best if everyone forgot about him. This was the time when Shadow Sect was at its weakest. Actually, Central Continent's GU Immortals were in the same situation. Even though they were wary of Zhao Lianyun, they did not dare to retreat rashly. Once they retreated, they might attract attention and become the target of everyone. The situation was in a deadlock. It was rather subtle. Old Ancestor Xuehu, Shadow Sect, Central Continent's GU Immortals, Longevity Heaven, and Fang Yuan, none of them dared to make a move. They had their own considerations and standpoint, and most importantly, they did not have the strength to make the final decision. Old Ancestor Xuehu's attitude became the most crucial point. The Immortals stared at him. Old Ancestor Xuehu thought about it before saying, "Sure. We can form an alliance." Fang Yuan was overjoyed. Chapter 1294. Seeing that Fang Yuan's words managed to convince Old Ancestor Xuehu, be it Central Continent side or Longevity Heaven side, their expressions changed. Old Ancestor Xuehu was the #1 rank 8 in Northern Plains demonic path. If he used his full strength, he could easily take away Fang Yuan in front of the dogtail life-extending ferret Maro Li Qiu, Bai Chen Tian, and Wei Ling Yang. However, Old Ancestor Xuehu gave Fang Yuan a harsh alliance agreement. Fang Yuan's joy vanished. According to this agreement, he would not be Old Ancestor Xuehu's equal ally, he would only be his servant. Old Ancestor Xuehu, this alliance agreement. Are you joking? Fang Yuan's expression turned unsightly. Thus, Old Ancestor Xuehu laughed. Of course not. Liu Guanyi, didn't you analyze it clearly and logically? Among us, only we are demonic path members, we are natural allies. You killed Yi Lui Kunxing, killed Liu tribe's GU Immortals, and plundered their resources. Are you going to surrender yourself to Longevity Heaven? Or leave my homeland and go to Central Continent? To become the lackey of the 10 great ancient sects and celestial court? I'm your best choice. Saying so, he paused, looking at Ying Wuxie. You know, I have my own difficulties. I've already made an agreement with these people. But it seems that you have enmity with them. I cannot offend another rank 8 just for Reverse Flow River and a rank 7 GU Immortal, right? Ying Wuxie's heart jumped. On the surface, Old Ancestor Xuehu was forcing Fang Yuan to surrender, but he was also probing Shadow Sect, probing Zishan Makoto's background. After all, everyone had seen Zishan Makoto's insanity. If Zishan Makoto went crazy and could not be controlled, Old Ancestor Xuehu might attack them. After all, the loot from killing a rank 8 GU Immortal who had lost his mind was enough to move Old Ancestor Xuehu. Not to mention, Old Ancestor Xuehu's GU refinement had failed, Snowy Mountain Blessed Land was destroyed, his previous investments were all for naught. Fang Yuan's face darkened. Old Ancestor Xuehu was an overlord of the demonic path, he was not so easy to fool. His previous words had indeed moved Old Ancestor Xuehu. But Old Ancestor Xuehu was shrewd and calculative, he used Fang Yuan's words to deal with Fang Yuan. Old Ancestor Xuehu's words were probably filled with guesses and probing. But Fang Yuan knew that he would never cooperate with Maro Li Qiu or Wei Ling Yang. Longevity Heaven was naturally protective of its people. Fang Yuan had killed Yelu Kunxing, offending the Gold family, and now he had killed Ma Hongyun. Relying on Longevity Heaven was simply courting death. On the other hand, he could not go to Zhongzhou State. Even though he had wisdom path methods to protect himself now, they were not reliable. He usually stayed in seclusion, either using his immortal aperture to isolate himself, or using the Super GU formation in southern border to avoid Central Continent's deductions and investigations. If he went to Central Continent, he would be sensed by the Celestial Court's GU Immortal Fairy Myrtle. By then, his true identity would be exposed and he would be brought to justice. After all, his name had always been on the Demon Judgment Board. As for Shadow Sect, because of Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU, it was even more impossible. Thus, among the people present, only Old Ancestor Xuehu and Fang Yuan could borrow his help. But now, Old Ancestor Xuehu said that he could help Fang Yuan, but Fang Yuan had to agree to the alliance agreement. And if Fang Yuan agreed, he would be selling himself to old ancestor Xue Hu. If you agree, I can guarantee your safety. If you do not agree, I will attack Reverse Flow River. You will die here today, don't even think about it. Old ancestor Xue Hu was domineering. He stared at Fang Yuan and forced him to make a decision. Fang Yuan hesitated and struggled. Let me think about it. I will only give you 3 breaths of time. Old ancestor Xue Hu had a cold expression. He breathed out coldly, giving Fang Yuan 3 breaths of time. How harsh was this? Fang Yuan smiled, thinking that he could not deceive old ancestor Xue Hu. He could not stall for time. He stopped pretending. Then I will have to test old ancestor's methods. Ha ha ha. Old ancestor Xue Hu raised his head and laughed. His smile was sinister. I knew it. How can someone who can become the Reverse Flow River Lord submit to others so easily? Thus, I will beat you into submission and make you beg for mercy. Old ancestor Xue Hu was excited. He still did not want to kill Fang Yuan. But who knew if this was his scheme? Old ancestor Xue Hu attacked. Waves of frost attacked unceasingly with great might. Reverse Flow River's water was turbulent. It reflected Xue Hu's attacks and expended its own water. Fang Yuan did not move. It was still too early to affect him. But he was bound to lose, because he could only take a beating. He had no way to retaliate. I need to think of a way to get out of this predicament and escape. Fang Yuan smiled as he said to Central Continent's side, Central Continent's GU immortals are guests. If we do not leave now, when will we? Do you want Northern Plains GU immortals to unite and deal with you? Wei Lingyang and Bai Chen Tian's hearts jumped. Zhao Lianyun screamed, Murderer! You should worry about yourself. I will only leave after I see you die in front of me. The other Central Continent GU immortals were silent. They looked at the 2 rank 8 GU immortals. But Wei Lingyang and Bai Chen Tian did not move. They were like statues. They did not react. Fang Yuan looked at the dog-tail life-extending ferret. He was about to speak. Maro Li Chiu chuckled. Little kid, no need to use words to drive a wedge between us. It is useless. I am right here. Even if Xue Hu does not kill you, I will. Saying so, it also started to attack. It opened its mouth and spat out purple qi. It was reflected by Reverse Flow River like a fog, increasing its expenditure. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly in his mind. These rank 8 existences, be they humans or beasts, were extremely shrewd. Words could not be used to sway them. It seems that I can only rely on myself now. My new move is powerful, but to escape from 4 rank 8 existences, oh no, to escape from 5 rank 8 existences, it will be very difficult. The 5 rank 8 existences were old ancestor Xue Hu, Maro Li Chiu, Bai Chen Tian, Wei Lingyang, and Zishan Makoto, who was in an unknown state. Fang Yuan looked at the water below him. He was in a daze for a moment. The attacks from outside the river were like a tide. There were loud explosions from time to time. Fang Yuan did not care about his surroundings. He did not care about them at all. An inspiration flashed in his mind. Activating the immortal GU, the river below him started to ripple according to his will. It seems that if I use Perseverance Immortal GU, I will be the Reverse Flow River Lord. In this Reverse Flow River, I can use other Immortal GU too. Earlier, he used the Strength Path Immortal GU Pulling Water. Under the effect of Pulling Water Immortal GU, Fang Yuan found that he could move Reverse Flow River like any other river. But with just this, Fang Yuan could not escape. One Pulling Water Immortal GU was only rank 6. It moved Reverse Flow River very slowly. It was impossible for it to escape from the river. Old ancestor Xue Hu can use Reverse Flow River to form a formation. Why can't I? I am the Reverse Flow River Lord. I have Perseverance Immortal GU. I can control this river freely. Or maybe, I can create an immortal killer move. This thought appeared in Fang Yuan's mind. He could not stop thinking about it. Perseverance Immortal GU could allow Fang Yuan to obtain Reverse Flow River's acknowledgement. Pulling Water Immortal GU could control the river water. This was the foundation of an immortal killer move. Adding other GU worms to create the final immortal killer move, it did not seem difficult. Fang Yuan felt that he could do it. This feeling was not a wild guess. It was attainment level. Fang Yuan's attainment level was already very high. Among them, the most crucial was Water Path. Fang Yuan had become a Water Path Grandmaster not long ago. Water Path GU worms were added in one by one, quickly completing the entire Immortal Killer move. But it was not enough. Not enough strength. Fang Yuan realized. The skeleton was built, the wings were full, but it lacked strong muscles. Just 2 Immortal GU were not enough. Then add more. Fang Yuan's first thought was Strength Path. Myriad Self. He was most proficient in Immortal Killer moves that he created after rebirth. Now, he had it. Strength Path Grandmaster Realm and Water Path Grandmaster Realm allowed everything to flow naturally, as if it was natural. Wait. Fang Yuan suddenly thought of an unrelated Immortal Killer move. This killer move originated from Yi Lui Kunxing. He used star fragments to create a powerful killer move. It was the same as Fang Yuan using Reverse Flow River, using external object. Thus, he had meridians. Skeleton, flesh, wings, meridians, all 4 were present. Fang Yuan had created an Immortal Killer move in a short time. This is Myriad Self Second Style. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light. Chapter 1295. With attainment level, Fang Yuan created an Immortal Killer move on the spot. Because it used the killer move Myriad Self as the foundation, Fang Yuan called it Myriad Self Second Style. But this killer move had just been created, it was still far from being used. Boom boom boom. Old Ancestor Xue Hu and Dogtail Life Extending Ferret Maro Li Chiu, 2 rank 8 existences, Pincer attacked Reverse Flow River, causing waves to form in the river. The attacks were reflected as the river level started to fall. Fang Yuan's actions had already crossed the bottom line of these people. Furthermore, he did not want to lower his head. Old Ancestor Xue Hu and Maro Li Chiu were willing to expend a huge amount of effort and deplete Reverse Flow River to kill Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan inspected the river as he estimated, at this rate, I still have a lot of time. His heart calmed down a little. Reverse Flow River was worthy of being a secluded domain of heaven and earth. It was only slowly being depleted despite the attacks of 2 rank 8 existences. Of course, there was a reason for this. Xue Hu and Maro Li Chiu did not use their full strength. They were wary of each other. Bai Chen Tian, Wei Ling Yang, and the other Central Continent GU immortals were standing at the side, waiting for an opportunity. These people were restraining and guarding against each other. How could they put all their effort into Fang Yuan? Precisely because of this complex situation, Fang Yuan felt a lot of pressure on him. He could test his killer move calmly. The first activation. Fang Yuan was very careful. First was Perseverance Immortal GU. It expended Red Date Immortal Essence, allowing Fang Yuan to move freely in Reverse Flow River without being restricted by the secluded domain of heaven and earth. Next were large numbers of Water Path Mortal GU. They rose up and flew around the huge Perseverance Immortal GU in Fang Yuan's immortal aperture. Not long after, large amounts of water vapor rose up. Blue light could be vaguely seen in the vapor. But soon, these blue lights dissipated, some even turned from blue to red. The cold vapor started to heat up, becoming hotter and hotter. I failed. Fang Yuan immediately stopped. The scene in front of him was out of his expectations. This was not the scene he had expected. He stopped the infusion of immortal essence. Crack crack crack, a large number of Water Path Mortal GU exploded in the air, destroyed on the spot. Fang Yuan calmed himself down and pondered. According to his imagination, the blue light should be getting brighter, and the water vapor should be getting colder. Why did red light appear, and the temperature was getting higher? Fang Yuan continued to deduce in his mind. Soon, thanks to his wisdom path cultivation, he found the source. It used 2 opposing Water Path Mortal GU. Fang Yuan immediately replaced one of them. In Reverse Flow River, he could open his immortal aperture, he could communicate with jewel yellow skies. It was easy to buy some Water Path Mortal GU. After modifying the entire Immortal Killer move, Fang Yuan tested it again, activating the killer move for the second time. Perseverance Immortal GU was still activated. The surrounding Water Path Mortal GU flew up one after another, revolving around it. First was the evaporation of water vapor, then the blue light. Soon, this stage was over. Fang Yuan activated pulling water. Rank 6 strength path immortal GU pulling water. This was the second core of the immortal killer move. The first core was naturally the rank 7 perseverance immortal GU. Fang Yuan was careful. Activating pulling water after using perseverance immortal GU was a very risky thing to do. If they were not coordinated properly, the two immortal GU would interfere with each other and harm each other. It might even cause one or both immortal GU to be destroyed. Experimenting with immortal killer moves was not only risky for the GU immortal, it was also risky for the immortal and mortal GU involved. In fact, because the immortal GU contained fragments of the Great Tao, if they suffered a backlash, the damage would be severe. Fang Yuan's caution was soon rewarded. He encountered a problem. Even though pulling water immortal GU was activated, the mystical power it emitted could not mix into the framework. Where did the problem occur? Fang Yuan stopped. Another large number of water path mortal GU were destroyed. Experimenting with immortal killer moves had to pay such a price. A complete and effective immortal killer move, from conception to experimentation, the GU immortal had to expend a huge amount of effort and resources. The attacks from the outside continued, but Fang Yuan ignored them. He had the sovereign immortal body, thoughts were moving rapidly in his mind. Adding on his wisdom path grandmaster attainment level, he had wisdom path Dao marks and wisdom path methods he could deduce quickly. This time, he was even faster than the previous time. In just a few breaths of time, Fang Yuan found the source. Perseverance immortal GU and pulling water immortal GU could not fuse into one. It was because the number and types of water path mortal GU were not enough. These mortal GU were in the middle of the two immortal GU, they were used to communicate and harmonize with each other. Fang Yuan thought about it, he reduced the number of water path immortal GU in a portion, while increasing the number of other types of water path immortal GU. At the same time, he added in some other types of water path mortal GU. The third activation. This time, Fang Yuan had a smooth journey, he successfully added pulling water immortal GU into the whole. Almost at the moment of success, reverse flow river started to ripple under Fang Yuan's feet. It was finally showing result. But there was still a huge distance to reach his goal. Fang Yuan did not stop, the situation did not allow him to. He continued to experiment, activating immortal killer moves. His aura fluctuated between strong and weak, it was unclear. What is this Liu Guanyi doing? All sorts of GU worm auras appear on his body. It seems that he is experimenting with immortal killer moves. Other than old ancestor Xue Hu and Maro Li Qiu, the other GU immortals were watching. When Fang Yuan experimented with immortal killer moves, his GU worm aura would leak out, it could not be concealed from the other GU immortals. To conceal the aura of GU worms, he needed a special immortal killer move. Such immortal killer moves were often rare, for example, Fang Yuan's dark assassination was one of them. Fang Yuan was already at his limit by creating the second style of myriad self, he could not consider the effect of concealing GU worm aura anymore. But it did not matter. Just based on the aura of the GU worm, it was hard to determine the type of GU worm. Furthermore, the second style of myriad self that Fang Yuan created was complex and varied, it involved many GU worms, he was not afraid of being exposed. Fourth time, fifth time, Fang Yuan continued to try using immortal killer moves. Sometimes, he progressed quickly, but sometimes, because of some minor modifications, he fell back to his previous speed. Fang Yuan was not dejected, he was expressionless as he persisted. He is experimenting with an immortal killer move after all. Hehehe, is this Liu Guanyi an idiot? Creating an immortal killer move on the spot, does he think he is an immortal venerable or a demon venerable? Even if he created an immortal killer move, I want to see if he can use it to deal with all the GU immortals here. The spectating GU immortals discussed, they mocked Fang Yuan's naivety. If immortal killer moves were so easy to create, would they still be immortal killer moves? But soon, some GU immortals' expressions changed. They found that reverse flow river around Fang Yuan was undergoing some mystical changes. 21st time. Fang Yuan stretched out his hand, grabbing at the river below him. Rise. At the same time, he called out. Bam! There was a soft sound, and a big bump suddenly appeared on the surface of the river beside his feet. This bump was made of reverse flow river water. After it rose, it exploded and water splashed everywhere. The killer move activation failed. 2 streams of blood flowed down from Fang Yuan's nose. His immortal killer move is effective on reverse flow river. Yu Yizi saw this and his eyes shined with bright light. No, more accurately, he wants to use this reverse flow river to create an immortal killer move. Bu Zhenzi blurted out. HMPH, laughable. Black Extremity laughed coldly. Back then, to make use of reverse flow river, I created the fate-reversing sacrificial refinement formation. It took me several years. Liu Guanyi, even if you become the reverse flow river lord, you are too arrogant. You want to create an immortal killer move in such a short period of time? Evidently, almost all the GU immortals present did not think Fang Yuan would succeed. But next, Fang Yuan used it again. Whoosh! This time, a small mound rose from the river at his feet. The mound crumbled as the river water drenched Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's expression turned pale, his body shook. This time, not just his nose, even his ears were bleeding. Failed again, man as before. At the next moment, Fang Yuan recovered completely. Chapter 1296. A moment later, Fang Yuan opened his eyes and activated his killer move again. This time, the entire section of the reverse current river was affected by his movements, causing huge waves to surge. The immortals' expressions changed. Even old ancestor Shuai, whose attacks paused for a moment. But at the next moment, old ancestor Shuai who roared as he attacked even more fiercely. This is so difficult. Because there are too many GU worms of different types, all sorts of problems occur. But this is already the limit of my abilities. To simplify the GU worms, I will need to deduce for years, or raise my attainment level by another level. Fang Yuan knew that this myriad self-second style had too many GU worms involved. The factors that needed to be considered were huge and complex. While Fang Yuan was sighing about the difficulty of the progress, the other GU immortals were shocked. Even though they did not say anything, their gazes were flickering. Liu Guanyi, this guy, such rapid progress. He can actually move reverse flow river. Unbelievable. Is he even human? To reach such a level in such a short period of time. No, he will not succeed. How can he really think of an immortal killer move in such a short period of time? Undeniably, Fang Yuan's rapid breakthroughs had broken the common sense of the immortals. They had never seen a person create an immortal killer move in such a short period of time, and even test it time and time again, making huge progress. But this was happening right in front of their eyes. Fang Yuan was still continuing. Old ancestor Shuai Hu and the dogtail life-extending ferret Maro Li Qiu subconsciously increased their attacks. But reverse flow river was too wide. After such an attack, they only managed to reduce the river by less than 5%. One more time. Rise. Fang Yuan had a serious expression as he grabbed at the river below him, calling out. This time, the entire reverse flow river was affected. It was like a slender dragon had awakened from its slumber and was slowly stretching its body. How can this be? Someone subconsciously exclaimed. The entire reverse flow river started to fly, like a dragon raising its head. It was about to soar into the sky and soar into the 5 regions and 9 heavens. In your dreams. Old ancestor Shuai Hu roared. He slammed his palms into the air and an icy light shot out, hitting the middle of reverse flow river. The reverse flow river's first attack was immediately reflected back. The ice light was like it had hit a mirror, and it was reflected back to the ground. In the blink of an eye, all of the surrounding grassland had been frozen into a vast plain of ice. Cold air filled the air, snow fell from the sky, and the temperature suddenly dropped. The northern wind howled incessantly, and the entire world seemed to have changed. This was the power of a rank 8. Fang Yuan couldn't help but be shocked. He was temporarily safe in reverse flow river. The other GU immortals were also protected with the help of their rank 8 existences. Ying Wuxie's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Zishan Makoto woke up at the most critical moment. If it wasn't for his protection, Ying Wuxie, He Lulan, and the others would have died. Let's go, Zishan Makoto immediately said. But this place. Ying Wuxie was still hesitating when Zishan Makoto waved his hand. Several rings of light flew out and enveloped Ying Wuxie and the rest, bringing them to the sky. To think that Shadow Sect's group was the first to leave. Zishan Makoto left without saying a word. All of the GU immortals present were stunned. Lord, that is the sovereign immortal aperture. Ying Wuxie was anxious. He transmitted to Zishan Makoto. Don't worry, I have already deduced that he will not die. He can definitely escape. Zishan Makoto was very certain. Ying Wuxie did not quite believe Zishan Makoto's words, but he could not express his doubts now. But at the next moment, he saw that the entire reverse flow river started to shine with light blue light. The blue light surged like rolling clouds and surging waves. The immortals' gazes were attracted. They saw that while Fang Yuan was standing there, strong winds blew, his hair and sleeves were fluttering in the air. His gaze was eerie as he shouted, "Rise!" Immediately, the river water surged. The immortals could hear the sound of splashing. It was as if thousands of people were shouting at the same time. The aura was extraordinary. Next, the blue light gathered, reverse flow river shrunk. In the blink of an eye, it had completely condensed into one. The huge reverse flow river vanished. It gathered around Fang Yuan, turning into a light blue robe. This robe had long sleeves that were fluttering in the wind. It was pure white like snow. On the surface of the robe, there were ripples. It was actually the scene of reverse flow river flowing slowly. Not just that, the surface of the robe was covered in mist. There was another rainbow light. It was pure blue and curved like a ribbon. It coiled around Fang Yuan's arm, neck, and waist. Immortal Killer Move Myriad Self-Second Style, Reverse Flow Protection Seal, was finally activated at this moment. Success! How can this be? He actually used Reverse Flow River to create an Immortal Killer move at the last minute. The immortals saw this and were tongue-tied. Old Ancestor Shui, who stared with wide eyes, "I don't believe it." He flipped his palms, pushing them towards Fang Yuan. Immediately, a beautiful icy light shot towards Fang Yuan at lightning speed. Fang Yuan was already prepared. The icy light hit his body, but Reverse Flow Protection Seal blocked it completely. Reverse Flow Protection Seal flickered, the terrifying icy light was reflected back. It flew towards its owner, Old Ancestor Shui. Success! Fang Yuan's heart that was in his throat finally returned to its original place. Even though the Immortal Killer move was activated, it had to be tested in actual combat. Old Ancestor Shui, whose attack proved the power of Fang Yuan's Reverse Flow Protection Seal. Old Ancestor Shui, who dodged the icy light, his gaze towards Fang Yuan became fierce and ruthless. "Let Grandpa Marrow try." Marrow Li Qiu shouted. Its huge body suddenly vanished on the spot, appearing behind Fang Yuan at the next moment. It raised its ferocious right claw high into the air, then slammed it down again. Bam! With a loud sound, Fang Yuan was like a cannonball as he was fiercely sent flying. His vision changed. In a breath of time, Fang Yuan was sent crashing to the ground. There was another explosion, and a huge crater was formed on the ground that was covered in thick ice. Under everyone's gazes, Fang Yuan slowly stood up from the crater. He was expressionless. His body was completely unharmed. There was not even a scratch on his skin. Reverse Flow Protection Seal's blue sash snow robe did not change much, only the mist on the surface of the robe had dissipated. If one observed carefully, the snow robe seemed to be covered in a layer of dust. It was no longer as bright as before. Marrow Li Qiu looked at Fang Yuan, before turning to look at its right claw. Its right claw was bleeding profusely. Its skin was torn. Fang Yuan was unharmed, but Marrow Li Qiu's injuries were severe. Gasp! The GU immortals drew in sharp breaths. What immortal killer move is this? Even Marrow Li Qiu suffered a loss. Seeing this, even Bai Chen Tian's eyelids were twitching. He actually did it. Black Extremity was speechless. He had a look of shock on his face. Even the pure claw attack of an immemorial desolate beast was reflected. Old ancestor Shui Hu frowned deeply. How can this be? Ying Wuxie, who was far away, saw this and felt like he was in a dream. There had never been a case where a rank 8 great expert attacked a rank 7 GU immortal, but the rank 7 GU immortal was unharmed, while the rank 8 GU immortal suffered heavy losses. Between rank 8s and rank 7s, the former had always dominated the latter. In the past thousands of years, only a monster like Feng Joga had appeared. He had unparalleled talent and could fight rank 8s. But now, after Fang Yuan created the second myriad self-style and activated it, Feng Joga's glory was no longer exclusive to him. From now on, this supreme glory would belong to another person's name. Liu Guanyi. The center has Feng Joga, the north has Liu Guanyi. Bu Zhenzi muttered, he was already dazed. Old ancestor Shui Hu laughed lightly. Good lad, I underestimated you. He placed his hands behind his back, he stopped attacking. But Maro Li Chiu roared, rascal, you are courting death, you dare to embarrass me like this. The immemorial desolate beast attacked Fang Yuan fiercely. Fang Yuan was not its match, he was sent flying like a ball. But after dozens of attacks, Fang Yuan was unharmed, he was still as elegant as before, while Maro Li Chiu was gasping for breath, its body was covered in blood. Every time it attacked, it would be reflected. It was equivalent to hitting itself. Maro Li Chiu was furious, it thought. This rascal is like a porcupine, he is truly troublesome. When did such a monster appear in northern plains? Fang Yuan saw that Maro Li Chiu could not do anything to him, he laughed heartily, he charged towards the Central Continent GU Immortals. Central Continent's GU Immortals were like a flock of frightened birds, they scattered in panic. 2 Central Continent rank 8s stayed behind, they attacked Fang Yuan together. But it was useless. Reverse flow protection seal reflected their attacks, they landed on Maro Li Chiu, who was chasing them. Maro Li Chiu was in great pain, its fur was standing on end from anger, it spat out a sky full of purple aurora, its attack was grand and enveloped the surrounding 1,000 li. This attack immediately caused a huge chaotic battle. The scene became chaotic, the GU Immortals from all 3 sides started fighting. This was the final scene that Ying Wuxie obtained. He felt great admiration towards Zishan Makoto's decisiveness in retreating. At the same time, he understood something. After this battle, Liu Guanyi's name would spread throughout the 5 regions, he would shake the world, he would be on par with Feng Joga. More than 10 days later, a figure in a sorry state passed through the regional wall, arriving in Eastern Sea. It was Fang Yuan. I finally got rid of that raging fellow. Fang Yuan sighed. More than 10 days ago, old ancestor Shui Hu, Central Continent's GU Immortals, and Longevity Heaven's side engaged in an intense battle. It was a huge battle. Fang Yuan escaped from the battle, but was chased by Maro Li Chiu. Fang Yuan was not Maro Li Chiu's match, but after he entered Northern Plains regional wall, Maro Li Chiu could only watch helplessly. It was a native beast of Northern Plains, it was restricted by the regional wall. Fang Yuan managed to escape, completely shaking off his pursuers. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.